following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.
This isn't just a game. This is iRacing. Much like every week here in the Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series, we're going to try to one-up the Cup show from the night before. As we come to the Iowa Speedway, it is race number 18 of this NC811.org Cup Series. I'm sorry, race 15. Let me get the numbers right here. As we get ready for 160 laps of racing at this just shy of 9/10 of a mile D-shaped oval outside of Des Moines, Iowa, where everybody is pretty much burning up right now. No matter where you are in the United States, I think it's so hot where I'm at currently, the roof is sunburned. It happens. But either way, we're getting ready to go racing here in Iowa, so we got the air conditions going and burning up, and we got the race cars doing the same out here in the cornfields of the Iowa Speedway. I'm the captain, of course. Joining me in the booth, as he always does on Monday night, Kevin England, fresh off a trip to a 2/10 of a mile, or 1/5 if we break that down, track where he had a relative running a 600 Modify, but he's here and he's in Iowa Speedway ready to go here. Kev, obviously this is a fun track. We saw a fun race last night in the Cup Series, and the question is, can these guys mimic it? They don't have to worry about any repaving or anything like that.
Yeah, I spent the night last night watching the Eastern Storm, the USAC midgets running around Kutztown, and I described it to you as the age-old fighter jet in a gym. And you know, this track has a lot of those characteristics because it's small. You're up on the wheel. You're always right in on someone. You're running right in the groove. You run right out to the fence. And I think we're going to see a little bit of a elbows up race here tonight. This track has a lot of interesting character to it. Unlike the Cup race we saw yesterday, this is a worn-out, bumpy old surface. There's a lot of trickery coming off of turn 2, getting off of the bottom of turn 4. Similar lines we have, Chris, to, a couple weeks through the season, and I think we're going to see it again tonight.
I think we're going to see some great racing, as we usually do here in the NC811.org Cup Series. But the one thing that I think is the biggest topic of them all on the Cup Series side, especially, has been the yellows. And I say that from the sake of, we've had some yellow fever the last few weeks. We are now working on 5 straight races where we've gone to overtime. And we're coming to a track that predominantly can put some pretty clean racing on. But it does have that tendency when you put a multi-groove race out there and you get a couple cautions, mix up the strategies, and start up in a pot, and all of a sudden, bam, you got the cautions at the end of the race in overtime. Does that sit in the back of your mind if you're a racer tonight, knowing that that has happened here these last few weeks? Or is this one of those you continue to trust this crew of guys that you race with because you're used to being around them and you know that they have the potential to run a clean race here?
There's something to watch about this race, especially after the restarts, that the drivers are going to be running from 1st to 30th within a skosh, and they're all on top of each other. And to that point, I don't know. Do you think that running on top of each other, fighting and clawing for every position is going to lead to green flag racing? It might, and it might not. So if you're in trouble in this season, you're looking for points, you're looking for a good finish, maybe you take it a more conservative route. You ride in the back a little bit, let the race attrition go on if that's what's going to happen, and then come at the end and try to get your track position. You won't win that way, Chris. But
Right.
in the guise of how do you conduct your season, I think we're going to see drivers play both sides of that fence. I think some of them are going to run hard right from the get-go because it's just in their DNA. Others are going to be a little more tactful.
I think it's one of those races where if you've had an off season, you know you've only got 11 races before the playoffs begin here in the Cup side. You know at this point you've got to kind of straighten up that car really quickly and get it to the playoffs because it's not a win and get in. You got to get in the top 20 in points, and not to mention you can't miss races. Now, thankfully, there's drops in the Cup side of things that can kind of peak its forgiveness, if you will. But tonight would be a great night to get your car straight. And we're talking about a track here that, well, doesn't have much straight to it. I mean, the backstretch is the only straightaway, and it's not that. I mean, it's straight for a short distance. But either way, you mentioned the points, and that is a great segue here to where we sit in the points right now. Kevin King, of course, has a big lead right now after 4 straight wins. He's got 7 wins on the season, and I mean, he would be totally fine with the playoffs starting tonight when it's all over with. Mike Kelly, second. Tyler Dalton, Chad Coleman, Josh Parker, your top 5 right now in the points, and then Callan Tony, Comstock, Rivera, Beasley, Donaldson, your top 10. Now, as you see, the drops have already been added in these point standings I'm showing you. So if you look over here in the starts category, the 4th one, you see everybody's start number. Then you go over here to races counted. You see the 10. That means the top 10 races right now have been counted for everybody, and that's what has people moved around here a little bit. So when you look at the bubble, it's down here at Kevin DeBrown in the 20th position by 2. Cody Giles, he had a great beginning of the season and finally broke that slump here a couple weeks ago, and he's looking to get himself in position to potentially get in the playoffs here. So, you know, this is not the ideal track. Maybe you want to be coming in a slump too because things could get worse, but at the same time, you miss a couple wrecks and all of a sudden the top 10 and you're looking good. So as we get ready for qualifying here, going to be coming up in about 1 second, literally. Cars are going to reset there.
I think these drivers are looking at the season, trying to figure that out. Talking to you is like talking to myself.
I'm like, we lost Kevin, I think. It's funny.
No, I think, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm thinking about it. This is the time of year where you start to reflect on those points that we just looked at and how do you sit? You need to determine whether you're comfortable. You could race the way you want to race, or you got to be more strategic. And, you know, there's a trouble zone in this racetrack, and it's not on the racetrack itself, although there's a bunch of different challenging places. It's really about your right foot coming off that corner, smashing the throttle, the car's going to break loose. You slide down in the grass or off no man's land on the backstretch, and you won't get a caution. So from that perspective, I think some of these drivers need to be kind of careful tonight as to how they operate.
No, I agree 100%. You got to put a foot underneath your throttle and apparently my daughter's watching America's Funniest Home Videos. Anyways, so Charles Van Scheck's across the line, 23.907. Jose Gonzalez, of course, the winner last week. Hold on there, Charles, as he's getting loose there off the corner. But Jorgensen, as always, he's been a qualifying monster, but just yet to finish the job up there to P2 right now. And look who's here, Pedro Mojica making a return back. He had so much fun a couple weeks ago. He took last week off and said, "Yeah, I'm bringing the car back out again."
Pedro knows how to get around this racetrack, and I suspect that he might have put in just a tick of practice to make sure he got the rust off, and I'm going to be curious to see if he can get himself a top 5 tonight. You and I were talking prior to coming on air about who has risen to the challenge. We keep waiting for that to happen.
Yeah. Boom, Dalton.
Tyler Dalton this year.
Yeah.
He's the guy. Did not see that coming, picked a couple other people, still think there's a lot of, but consistency and speed, Tyler Dalton has had it not just in qualifying, but in race position. The other guy that's shown that he can be a contender is Justin Fuller. He's just come every week with the speed and is running top 5. I'm waiting to see a little more consistency out of Josh Parker because I think he can carry the speed and go in there. And certainly all of those drivers have the ability to take down Kevin King, who's been king of the stack. No kidding here is, well, this should be interesting to watch, EJ.
Yeah, right. EJ on board him. He'll have it running out wide. But yeah, you mentioned. I mean, you go back to when I did the podcast for those few weeks. We talked about cars that we thought would break out in the series, and every one of them will won a race so far on the Cup side this year. Cal and Tony at Vegas. Wesley Donaldson got his first Cup win. We mentioned a rookie whose name unfortunately slipped my mind because he hasn't been here since about the third or fourth race of the season, who I thought would be a breakout guy, but unfortunately he has not been here, so it's kind of an unfortunate deal. But you've got guys that we didn't talk about because they weren't really on the roster at that moment as EJ goes P21. Mark Jorgensen Jr. If it wasn't for bad luck, he'd have none at all. Basically, he's had great qualifying runs, but just has not been able to put that race together. In the 88, Jose Gonzalez is starting to put some good runs together. Charles Van Schaik at times has had some great runs in the series. I mean, if you want to go with a new guy, I mean, I think he rattled some cages last week from what I read and some things I've heard. But Joseph Grijalva last week shows up, gets a top 5 in his first start. So I know he's trying to get his feet wet and get used to being around people, but he's got a little bit of a learning curve, but that's a great start there in the top 5, so let's throw his name in there right now. But we've had that cast of characters that are trying to make that next step up, but then you mentioned the guys that are trying to fight for the championships, the Parkers, the Daltons, Mike Kelly, who's had a fantastic season on both sides. I mean, second in points right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters up there that are definitely trying to compete with that 29 car. Let's look at Kevin King, just jumped to the top, 23.66. Probably has Tyler Dalton cussing at him right now. As, by the way, the Pole Award, should mention, presented by 811 Notes Below and call before you dig.
You have to say this doesn't hurt Kevin's cause as he continues to have the track position to get out to clean air from the beginning. And, right from the drop of the green flag, everybody's behind the curve chasing him down. So,
the one thing, I have to throw out there, Kev, is, yeah, Kevin's getting these poles. But again, the way that the strategies have been in these races this season, especially as we've gotten into this latter part of the season where we've had more cautions, there's been a lot of mixed bag of stuff. People pitting at different times and mixing the field up. You're just as easy as Kevin, by the way, wins the pole right now, and we'll finish this thought real quickly. As easy as Kevin has been able to work his way up through the field and win a race, win these races, the 4 in a row, he could have easily been taken out in wrecks in the middle of this pack. And that could happen tonight, unfortunately, if this kind of strategy comes into play. So anything can happen. But we'll come back. We'll talk more about this, and we'll get you the starting lineup for the race. Right now, the national anthem here from Iowa.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, the anthem is done as we get ready for the Iowa Speedway. 160 laps of racing to go here from the state known for corn and for Caitlin Clark, apparently. At least according to America in 2024. Iowa Speedway. Kevin King on the pole as we take a look at the starting lineup here. Tyler Dalton on the outside in that 19 car. Tyler won the Xfinity Series race here last season. Mark Jorgensen Jr., Pedro Mojica there, row 2. Anthony Calantoni, Mike Kelly, row 3. Jose Gonzalez and Robert Friary III in row 4. Chad Coleman and Charles Van Schaik there, your top 10. Macklin and David Comstock there, row number 6. Row 7, Bobby Wetzel, Kevin DeBrown, Joseph Grzelva, and Glenn Campbell there, row 8. There's Wesley Donaldson and Scott Simley, row 9. E.J. O'Rourke, he's going to be aggressive here at the start, I feel, alongside Nelson Rivera. Eric Arnold, Mike Montesi there, row 11. Row 12, Joey and Kevin Stone. Ever so often we get the Stones lined up in row 12. Row 13, Seth Foundy and Justin Fuller. He's going to have some work to do for that 26th position. Stoney Benfield, the last of those to qualify. Richard Beasley, Donnie Leah, Josh Parker, all these guys right here are lined up per their I rating, basically, as Brian Wortman and Mark Schrader make up the last of the 38 starters that will go for 160 laps, 3 sets of tires, 2 overtimes if necessary, and it's the usual iRacing default weather here from Iowa. So I think if you're watching on the stream right now, I think this is a good opportunity for you to grab that drink or whatever you have. Go get a hold of your friends right now, those in your Discord page or those in maybe a league you're racing in that you're just watching tonight. Go send them a link and tell them to come watch, because you're about to watch some wild action here from the Iowa Speedway and the Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series. And Kevin, I'm handing you the green flag, my man. Go get them.
Turn 1 for the first time. King surges ahead down on the bottom line. Here comes the 19 of Tyler Dalton with a run to the outside. Can he get there and make it side by side? No. It is going to be King taking the lead and rolling into turn number 3.
Kevin King going to lead. It looks like the first lap. Dalton trying to climb that top side there, and King's going to slide up and lead the first lap. And one thing we're going to talk about here tonight, that transition off turn 4, it will bite somebody really quickly, especially on newer tires here until they get up to temp. Looks like everybody, though, is clean and green. And up, sideways. Looks like Scott Simley and a few others back there. Grzelva has been turned, it looks like, along with Simley. And I'm having nightmares in my old league again with 2 former members in it. From way back 12 years ago. Simley and Grzelva bringing out the first caution here at the Iowa Speedway. And I think you can add Kevin Stone to the incident.
Yeah, almost a tandem pirouette there is you go through those bumps, through the middle lane on the bottom, and when you're side by side and you can't move up out of the bumps, you have to really tiptoe through there. We saw Kevin DeBrown turn sideways, and then alongside that, the 12 went sideways, and all 3 of them, along with a couple other friends, went sliding down into the infield.
So the question here, and then we're going to go on board with the 12, I have to ask, is did Simley get into the gas prior to the bumps? Because this is one of those tracks where you could floor it if you want to before the bumps, but you better get out of the gas when you get to them. This is actually Grzelva we're on board with. Now you see the 12 just goes around right in front of him. All right, let's try it.
It is hard to say. Like you said, cold tires. It also has to do with how much you're turning the car down. If you think that the car to your right is going to come down and squeeze you, you might pull that wheel a little to the left, go through the bumps, and once it turns sideways, it's almost impossible to save it.
Yep.
You also know you have somebody behind you, Chris, so you certainly don't want to jam on the brakes or slow down, because even though you might have the opportunity to save the car, you're going to get run over from behind. So you're trying to carry the speed, let the car slide, and let the nose come back across. But unfortunately for Simley, not going to happen. If you watch out the windshield, though, Kevin DeBrown, same thing. His car did come back. It slid down into the apron, and he straightened it out and drove through.
That's got to be, it's interesting. They got fixed setups on these cars, so that means everybody's running the same setup. But I can't help but wonder, does that have to do something with the bump stops on the car because of the cold tires, low profile tires, and obviously when this car hits the road with it set up, it's going to hit the ground, hit down on the bump stops, and usually that will loosen the car up and send it around. So you wonder if some reason it affected those two guys a little bit more than the other cars. I'm kind of dumbfounded by that one because I didn't see anything, notorious that Scott did there that caused him to spin out. I didn't see him like rolling the throttle or getting too early into it. It was just, he and Kevin hit the bumps and the car got loose.
Yeah, again, I just think it's treacherous down there. We were talking about trouble zone. That is the trouble zone.
That was bumps.
Sideways out of turn number 2. Now, a lot of times what happens when there isn't contact, you spin down there, just any opportunity we have coming off turn 2.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kev. I just kind of caught something here. As let's add Joey Stone to the list so the Stones get together again. Yep. And Foudy and Randy Yoakum get together. Yeah, right. You can... They might be talking about Angie when it's over with here. But so I went to the blimp just now and watched the replay again here because I wanted to see if I could find something. Notice the groove that Simley and Kevin are in. Right here. They are in the middle of the track. So that's a banking transition right there. De-wedge the car. That's what's going to cause you to get loose right there. Because, look at everybody else. Either below or above the line.
Yeah.
And look what happens. Kevin gets loose. Simley gets loose. Those transitions, you want to pick one lane or the other. Do not sit in the middle of it. Now, long run, maybe you do it because you can loosen the car up a little bit. But there's something about Iowa in the transition between the bankings of the track. You got, 12 to 15 degrees, I think, bottom to top. And then you come out of these corners. It can be very tricky. As we go back green here, Kevin King with the lead. Tyler Dalton, Mark Jorgensen, Pedro Mojica, your top 4.
King's got bling this week with that paint scheme for his Rev Grip sponsor.
Oh, couple cars in the wall. EJ just got squeezed.
We're going to do that every single time they come off turn 2 on a restart.
Well,
it just feels that way.
EJ is one of those, he will Kyle Busch to start, like literally no lift, just ride the top side and get what he can get. And unfortunately, Glenn Campbell was there and squeezed up. Bidno of his Campbell and Wetzel about get together. And there's EJ up and now he puts himself in a wall. Because you're trying to topside the bumps, which is almost a no-no at this track.
That track is that's another area. You can't go up there. You can't. There's a huge, it's almost a whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, the bump gets worse up top.
And you just can't go through it. It does exactly what we just saw. The car turns sideways as Glenn Campbell around. Oh, big crash off of turn 2.
And more cars hitting. Kevin DeBrown. Stoney Benfield's gone around. Got a newcomer in the league, Keith Haney. I don't know if he's a newcomer in the league, but first time I've seen him. He's got a modified and broken toe links.
Yeah, Campbell going through those bumps.
Well, keeping up with the musical trends here, we've got the Rhinestone Cowboy bringing out the second caution after the Stones involved in the first one. Thank God there's no Beatles anywhere.
Yeah, and this is Trans Service 44 of Glenn Campbell. I've been in a billion races with this guy. He's a veteran. And it just goes to show it's equal opportunity. It doesn't matter who you are. Going down through that one bump, if you're picking up the throttle in any way, the car is just going to turn sideways. Charles got a piece of him in the number 23. I'm not sure if the 22 of Nelson Rivera nicked him, but everybody sent scrambling as they're right on top of each other after a restart.
Well, I'm just going to hit the pause button right here for those on the stream. Anybody noticing anything here?
Same middle line.
That same lane as Simley just spun from is right where Campbell's riding, and look what it does to the car. Zing, around she goes. Rivera, you mentioned damage. Donnie Leah gets damage. And then Keith Haney's going to get picked on after the race, unfortunately.
Oh, boy, there were several multiple hits after. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, Keith Haney, unfortunately, is... I hope he's not new. For his sake, I feel bad for him, but That's something they've been working on, is people that have not particularly slowed down the best when it comes to wrecks. And as you watch here, wreck's going to happen, and he is just going to continue. Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's a pretty big impact. He hit the 93 and the 15 got caught up in it. And that's what I said. That secondary hit was a pretty big one. And sometimes, though, when you come off that high side, you're just carrying all that momentum. If you slam on the brake, you're just going to slide right and go slam the wall. And you have no choice but to try and slow it down and drive your way out of it, because you really don't have many, or less options, I should say. So,
If you're driving down, go ahead.
not unexpected here. That bump in turn 2 is treacherous.
I think Josh Parker might have. Josh Parker got some damage in the Frito's 81 car. So he's trying to get this car worked on. So second caution out here. We'll actually take advantage here and step away for a second and get a break in. We'll come back and get you more racing here from the Iowa Speedway here on the Captain Esports Network.
This tree is going to look great here.
Did you call 811 to protect your underground utilities?
I can't wait to see these roses come up.
Dig, dig, dig! Wait, we forgot to call 811.
Before you dig, make sure you can. Call 811 to know what's below. It's up to all of us to protect the ones we love.
All right, back we are at the Iowa Speedway, 13 laps in. Caution number 2 in the books, and Kevin King has led all 13 here as he's about to bring her to the green flag. And I think we're going to have ourselves a water word tonight, or a soda word. I'm not going to mention anything about drinks and stuff. Let's just talk about water, since it's so hot everywhere right now. But it might be the word de-wedge, because that is what we've gotten so far in these first 2 wrecks from the cars, de-wedging over the transition of bankings. 14 laps in as King to the restart to the lead. Dalton a second to first battle for third. Jorgensen, Mojica, Mike Kelly. There's the Talking Giants 84 of Anthony Calantoni. Robert Friery there. And last week's winner, Jose Speedy Gonzalez, as we are 15 laps into this race.
Yeah, see Keith Haney still on pit road getting service. That car, extensive damage for his debut, unfortunately. But I suspect, Chris, the best thing for him to do is to get the car fixed, come back out and run some laps. One of the things I know from running this track, you can get quite a bit of damage fixed, and the car will be competitive even if you've taken some hard hits. So I suspect that some of these drivers who had extra curricular activities right here in the beginning will still be competitive as we go.
We look at Comstock and Chad Coleman right back here. Jose Gonzalez, as I mentioned, the winner of last week's race as he went to victory lane. Congratulations to him, and a fantastic strategy. Note taken again, by the way, for those who will be running in the future at Auto Club Speedway. I'm sorry. What am I getting? I'm getting mixed up with the Xfinity Series is what I'm doing here. But obviously, Jose, another caution. As EG, or that is, was that Kevin Stone that spun over in turn 2? Let me get my wickets straight here about me. So the Jose win was in the Xfinity Series the week before. Kevin King has obviously won 4 in a row here on the Cup side. But caution for the 17. Let's see what happens to Kevin.
He did a little reverse osmosis there or something.
What?
The car got sideways and then all of a sudden took a hard right in the middle of the corner.
Oh, he got in on entry there, got real free.
David thought he was going to get it straight. Boom.
Front end gripped, and he gets hit by the 15 Allen Wild. That's basically one of those things where you're loose, and then the front end grips. And guess what? The back end decides it's going to pass. And unfortunately, the caution out here for the third time, and thankfully for the first time, not because of the transition of a corner. So I've used a couple of different analogies when it comes to that. That's just going into the corner. maybe some rear brake or just loose on entry and just overcorrects, finally hooks, bam. The two I can come up with is one, you travel on the interstate and you come up on a construction zone, which a lot of us are doing these days, and you get the uneven pavement and you get the one groove to the left that maybe has the full pavement still there, and then you get the lane next to you has either the gravel's there now or you got the lines cut into it from it picking up all the asphalt. Try to merge over into that lane. And notice how your car almost feels like it's wanting to spin out for a second or something. Like you almost have to move the wheel a little bit to kind of, just because of the unevenness. Picture that being the banking when you go from one degree of banking to the other. It's almost like it feels like that. The other would be if you're merging onto the interstate from like your local road. If you're one like me that likes to take the shortest way around the corner, because I'm a racing fan, and you get down to the shoulder, sometimes the shoulder is not as banked or banked as the main road that you're merging around onto that you're supposed to be on in the merge lane, and it can kind of make your car a little interesting feeling. That's kind of what it's like to spin out in this car on that banking. Best analogy I can think of, or comparison.
I get the sense of what you're talking about when that wheel drops off to the lower pavement. It kind of goes.
It kind of
its own
jerks,
way.
right? Right. Because there's a second there where your tire's almost off the ground because of the uneven pavement.
Yeah. Multiple cars taking the opportunity to pit here and get some of that damage fixed. We saw the 21 in for O'Rourke, Kevin DeBrown, and the 93 went in. The 81 out back once again. We know he likes to start in the back, but now he had to reset, and they're all hitting pit road and getting the damage fixed from the earlier incidents.
Well, it looks like we're still at 2 to go here, so we gotta... Oh, wait, let me get myself live here. I just realized I'm still in the replay mode here. So, yeah, pace car lights are on. 21 laps in. Appreciate the viewers. I see J34 Ever watching, of course, again tonight. And his alter ego, Joe Smith, is hanging out. Diego Sainz hanging out from the Iowa Speedway, one of his favorite tracks. Diego, a very cool person.
You have to wonder what's in the head of these drivers at this point. Are they happy for these breaks, or some of them might want to be seeing long runs? If tire wear is a little like a blessing here in the fact that because the track doesn't have such hard turn in, especially in one where it sweeps down, you tend to see pretty even tire wear, Chris. So on the long run, the car does hold a lot of speed.
Yes, it helps I turn my microphone on. I just pulled you. So we have now muted... Let's see. You've muted yourself. I muted you accidentally, and now I've muted myself. So we're all good now. Everybody should be even on the opportunity mutants here. So
It's whole mute.
Is that a whole different definition of mutiny?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Kevin King going to bring him back to the green here. 23 laps in the books next time by. And you mentioned a lot of cars coming to pit road. Justin Fuller already up to 15th. He pitted at lap 3. He hasn't pitted since. But 25th on back, pitted at this caution. As we come back to the green, Kevin King with a good launch. Tyler Dalton getting a push from his teammate there, and Callan Tony. Mojica down there in the bottom. And let's see if these guys can get themselves into a rhythm here.
Field rolls through turn 2. Right now it looks like clean and green. Everybody got through there okay this restart.
3 wide. You see Wetzel. You see Gonzalez starting to slide up the track there a little bit, kind of shutting the door. David Comstock, Robert Fryery, that's right there at the 10th position. As you think these guys have that sense to slow it up a little bit, catch their composure, and get back out there on the track. Of course, one thing that is different, and you don't see it much in this series, is this is a night race. Usually these guys are running all daytime. They like to get the weather as hot as possible so that the track is slick. And sometimes you get a setup that, these guys get out there and test it early, and it turns it out to be undrivable. So what they do at that point is they put it at night so that, at least it's drivable, but you still have to get out there and you're putting your hands and feet on the wheel.
There's a dynamic that we've not spoken about, especially since these restarts, that makes this even more challenging as the yellow comes out.
Oh, fifth caution already.
I'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. But it has to do with the driving line.
Mike Montesi, by the way, is a caution. He has spun around in the 4. And this is what, the fifth caution? Fourth caution?
Caution number 4 on my notes.
Caution 4. Trust Kevin. He takes good notes.
He slid down on the bottom, which is strange to me because typically, again, right through that center bump, maybe because he did a full 360 and he was partially on the racetrack when he slid back out.
Well, here's what I find. That's an interesting turn. I mean,
Here, when he came back
Right.
out on the racetrack, is probably what drew the caution. If he just stayed below the yellow line, which is what we typically see.
and this one might be a mixture of all the cautions we've had so far into one. So he enters high here. We're going to slow this one down because we're going to have to break this down slowly for, I think, everybody to see this. So as we go blimp view here. So Montesi's in a high groove here, and he's on the brakes. He sees Alan Wild drift up, so he's going to try to cross back to the bottom. Unfortunately, Kevin, let's bring this up. We're going to hit
where he
stop
is.
button right about here. He's now crossing over that dangerous seam that has the bump right there, too. So now he's got 2 different bankings and a bump.
And he's pulling it hard left, which is putting a lot of stress on the right side.
That's the perfect storm right there. And around he goes as he just kind of has to hold on. And as he gets on the apron, it really de-wedges the car and sends it around, bringing out the caution for the 4th time.
You can see from the skid marks, he did have it locked down so he didn't slide
Right.
back into the racing groove.
Which is the right way to do it.
And so let me talk about the thing I wanted to mention as we
Go ahead.
went to yellow. This track is like some other track. So I'll talk about Bristol and other places where there's a preferred groove and everybody knows it. You're going to run down through the middle. You're going to sweep up to the outside wall, especially at a turn 4. You want to come up to the front straight and run high.
Uh-huh.
Not unlike you would maybe run Richmond. But when you're running side by side and you have somebody to the outside, you can't do that. You'd like to be up high and turn down through the middle and then drive off from the bottom. But when you're running side by side, you're forced to run a different lane than you would. Now, when we get to green flag and we get to like a 10-lap run or so, and they start to stretch out, then everybody starts to nose to tail. And from that point, Chris, they can be a little more comfortable in the line they choose. If they spin out, it's because they got in the corner wrong or something like that. But you tend to see the drivers in the back ease out and then find the line that they want. Actually, this isn't a terrible line. It's just a matter of...
Well, I think he gets fooled a little bit here. I think he expected Alan, because look, Alan's going in shallow here. So he's expecting to probably go to the bottom lane. So he's like, all right, well, I'll take the top groove. And Alan's like, no, I'm going to go to the top groove. So now he's going to the bottom because you want to go where the car
I
is
have
not.
no idea whether that changes the wake either, right?
That's true, too. Yeah. It's got to change the air on the nose. So that's one of those things where last night's race, you look at it, how the cars were able to go to different bankings. I mean, the object of this car is no longer follow the guy in front of you. You have to go put that car in air somewhere. And that's the only way you're going to get the handling to optimize at its best.
There's all the dynamics of making the corner. How high you turned in, how hard you turned in, what speed you're carrying, what kind of brake you're using, how much wheel input you're putting, when you step on the gas. All of those things, if you take a car and you put a pencil underneath it and rest the car, proverbially on the pencil point, the car rotates on it, and as it goes through the corner, it comes from diving in the front and rotating over to the right and maybe going to the right front wheel, and then you step on the gas and the weight transfers back, and all of those physics are underway as you go through the corner, and then put that bump and a couple other
Right.
things in the track. I'm telling you, this is what I said. It really is tricky to pick up the throttle over there out of turn number 2. And you could do it the same way 6 laps in a row, and lap number 7, it doesn't behave the same way. It is a tricky place to get to, no doubt.
As we get ready to go to the green flag, 30 laps in and 4 cautions. Need I say we have already passed the November races caution line. There goes Calantoni to the wall.
Ooh,
Oh,
big
my
hit down on the
goodness.
bottom, multiple cars bouncing off each other. One from the bottom came up across and just cleaned out 2 or 3 cars.
Van Schaik involved. I saw the 41 and Justin Mons having bad blinking issues again. And this has just turned into an absolute nightmare of a start so far.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure who that. It was Jose Gonzalez
Oh, no.
in the 26. Huge hit for Jose. His car went down, hit the inside wall, came back across and tagged the 23, and then it was on from there.
Something caused... I see the contact with Jorgensen. Yeah, you said Gonzalez gets up into Van Schaik, and Randy Oakham there gets cleaned out. Something caused the 84 to not go. And I want to look at this from the blimp.
Looks like the 19 is way off on that. I don't know why the 19 didn't go either, because when the restart occurred, I don't know if he missed a gear, but Pedro Mojica was in the 3rd position, 2nd car inside line, and he was a nose ahead of Tyler when they got to the start-finish line. Calantoni was beaten on the bumper of the 19 and got plunked from behind and turned sideways. That was just a smorgasbord of problems up
Watch
there.
a couple seconds after the Dalton deal. You're going to see Calantoni lose speed right there. It's like something happens right as Jorgensen's pushing him. You notice, like, all of a sudden Calantoni's not going anymore. Something caused Calantoni to lose, if it was a misshift or something, or need I say we don't need the word money shift coming into play here again, do we? Let's watch on board again. You're right. You're absolutely accurate with the Dalton call. But then for some reason, you're going to see Calantoni is going to lose speed here.
Maybe he
Right there.
just let off.
It's not shifting.
To,
Didn't shift to 4th gear. Yeah. That was my guess.
wow.
It just...
With the 87s and the clutch, the way that works, after a little while.
Is this where I can admit I'm a cheater and I auto blip with the Cup car?
Yeah. You're in good company with a lot of folks on that one.
Oh, man. Well, I don't want to be the guy that brings this up, but I started to there before the caution came out. Last season in November, we ran 180 laps here. Mojica won the race. It was actually the weekend after Thanksgiving, I think. We only had 3 cautions in that race, unfortunately. We had 15, actually, in this race last year that Kevin DeBrown ended up winning. We've had, other than that, 3, 1, and 5 in the 3 other starts here. So there was just that 1 13 caution race. The rest of them 5 or less. So unfortunately, this is not started like those 4 of those 5.
Yeah, Chad Coleman got a piece of that. He got tagged in the back by the 13 of David Comstock, as several of the drivers in the back did figure it out. The 8 of Randy Yoakum took a pretty big hit. That was at least a 10-car incident there.
Yeah, let's get another view of this from the crash cam and look back at you mentioned Gonzalez getting some damage from this. Now you see where Dalton struggles, and then Calantoni has the gearing issue, and Jose gets in the back of Comstock, hits the inside wall, and then unfortunately Beasley gets a piece. Nice job. Look at Donnie Leah. How about that?
Shoot the gap.
He almost had to stop the car first.
I want to take him to the carnival and have him throw the ball in the hole because he hit the pocket.
You trying to get a fish that bad? Just go to a store. Come on. Throw the ring around.
Having experience with Mr. Calantoni, I bet it sounded like a Sopranos episode in there.
Oh, you mean bleep this, bleep that, bleep this, bleep that.
Exactly.
Bleep...
Yeah.
Nice job by Donnie. All right, pace car and the lights.
Well, last year's champion lines up alongside Kevin King. He wanted a shot at him, as he told us from last interview we did with him. And, well, here he is. Got him in his sight. Let's see how the two of them come off here, whether Pedro can keep with him. And Mike Kelly's right there with them. Tyler Dalton, he gets a mulligan here.
For those who
Had bad luck last week, right?
Yeah, right. For those who saw me pause the photo there for a second, I wanted everybody, in case you're always curious what the gas price was at the gas station off the backstretch, I showed that shot there for a reason. It's $4.06 for the diesel, I believe, or for unleaded, and then $3.57. And that is not accurate. That is from when the track was put into iRacing. That's how much the gas prices were. As Kevin King goes green.
That's what it is right now.
Is it right?
There, yes.
As he loves travel stop back there. Because you imagine if McDowell would have won that race with that place on the backstretch?
All right, let's see here. Let's see if they can settle out. Get a little single file. I suspect if we get about 6-8 laps, we're going to single out and we're going to have a long run, because this track can bring long runs.
Oh,
if
four wide.
Oh.
Sorry, Kev. Watch him in turn 1 and 2. Patrick Colby, Seth Foudy, Eric Arnold. Oh, boy.
I know.
Yikes. About to have to bring out the Shaggy here. Yoink, Scoob. Oh, that almost got bad.
Dalton down on the inside of Pedro Mujica for second, trying that low line. Unable to squeeze underneath there. Tiptoes out of the back straightaway. Now tries to the high side out of 3 and 4. As the two bottom feeders for out front, Kevin King's led from the drop of the green. Pedro Mujica in pursuit. I know Tyler wants to lead at least one lap. Everybody is very aware, cognizant, Chris, of the bonus laps. And now Dalton has got the run to the outside in turn 2. He's making that high side work over in 3 and 4.
That is the ideal groove right there on that line of the top side in 3 and 4. He's going to pass Mujica for the lead. The guy on the move is Justin Fuller. Yes, we've had the 4 cautions in the first 30 laps, but Fuller has found his way up 21 spots with pit stops and different strategies, and is climbing up through the field. Last night's winner at Watkins Glen in the Xfinity race, doing a good job as Dalton climbs back up to the top side here. And he's got that line rolling, and I think eventually that's where everybody's going to need to be.
He had a good run to Kevin's bumper, and then out of turn 2, the car just gave a little bit of a twist, got sideways. He's got a better run this time by through the middle. If he can get to the back bumper and sail it in on the outside lane to turn 3 and be at the door so Kevin cannot come all the way up the racetrack, then he stands a shot of wrestling away the lead. But right now, Kevin is precise, as he always is. Tyler turns down. He draws alongside. They're side by side out of turn 2. This time, he's there. King is going to be able to squeeze up. Slide job.
Put himself in a wall.
Out of turn 2. They know how important clean air is, and I'm wondering if Tyler's going to peek down on the bottom this time by.
Kevin, actually, if you go back to the interview last week we had with him, was one of the first times I've heard him say that these guys he feels like are getting closer and closer to him. He feels that these guys are starting to push him and to almost step up his game a little bit more. And I think you're starting to see it now from Tyler Dalton, from Brian Macklin, from Justin Fuller. These guys that have been up front here a lot have kind of kept Kevin honest.
I love the fact that we're seeing 2 lanes from these two. They can run the bottom right down on the yellow line, and you can run the middle, you can run the top, and
it's just a matter of doing
tire
it.
wear, again, not a factor, so I think they can run as hard as they want.
Yeah, right now you mentioned we're only about 2-3 tenths off the pace right now from their fastest lap. So yeah, I think with the cautions that's helped out here. The other question, obviously, in this situation is how long does it take for the tires to get up to temp here when you're in a night race at Iowa? I would think probably 4, 5, 6, 7 laps or so before maybe you start seeing a fall off. But yeah, these two continuing to put on a good show up here at the front. But not only is a good show going on there, there's A good show back here at about the 10th position. There's a good show back here at 18th. I mean, EJ O'Rourke's up in the EJ lane again because the first time didn't scare him enough. I mean, there's cars everywhere.
I'll tell you, I'm so impressed with the handling on that 29. Kevin's car is down on the bottom. He turns in, and he's completely down on the yellow line in turn 1 and 2. He's not worried about those bumps. He's able to drive through them. And I actually think as low as he is, he's about as low as you can get and stay out of that major bump. And I always felt like, and we see drivers try this, so we'll see whether Kevin does this or not. They run the bottom
caution.
for a period of time, and then they run the top for a period of time to even the tire wear. Is
Joey
come
Stone.
to a grinding halt there.
Joey Stone and Stoney Benfield. More stones getting into each other. Don't stow stones at a pastor either. Come on now. The faster pastor involved with Joey Stone here.
Lap 49, and we are under the 6th caution of the night here at Iowa Speedway. And now, 50 laps in, do they go take tires up front? We'll see what the tire wear is going to be like and whether they feel it's an advantage.
I do the opposite of what the leaders do here. If I'm Kevin Brown, Richard Beasley, Wesley Donaldson, Eric Arnold, those guys about 20th right now. If these guys come to pit road, I am staying out. Trying to get some track position here. Because, I mean, that right there was the first sign that we could start to get green flag racing going again. So let's see what happens here. Leader's going to come to pit road. First car, if anyone's going to stay out. There's a reason why I don't win many races. No one stays out.
Yeah, I think at this point, you have to know that the car is going to carve better with fresh tires, and you have 4 sets. If you break the race down, it's time to come get 4 tires.
I'm okay with that.
So with the long green flag run, occasionally you will see the car wear that right front, especially if you're on the bottom where Kevin King was.
Uh-oh.
Two-tire change, yes?
Got some 2-tire warriors here. Tyler Dalton with 2 tires. Seth Foudy, I think, goes 7.4. That might be a fuel-only stop. And the rest of these guys, 4 tires and fuel. Tyler Dalton might be like, oh boy. Brian Wortman's going to do his usual lead a lap here. And with the chances of a green flag run going here to potentially happen, I think it's going to happen here soon. Let's step away and get another break in and come back from the Iowa Speedway as you're watching Sim500 Racing on the Captain Esports Network.
When do you plan on putting in that new fence we've been talking about since last summer?
I guess I could start tomorrow.
Protect the ones you love and protect your buried utilities by contacting 811 before you dig, either by phone, the web, or the NC811 app. Know what's below. Before you dig, visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are at the Iowa Speedway, of course, here on the Captain Esports Network. As we're under caution here, 53 laps in. Tyler Dalton, 2 tires, going to lead this race. Kevin King going to be second. Justin Fuller up to third. Seth Foudy, your other car to go 2 tires, is now in the 4th position with Brian Macklin in the 5th spot. Every single car came to pit road. We got others coming in now to potentially get some damage fixed or whatnot, so Interesting, Kev. As you got 110 laps to go here. You still got to go one more stop. You cannot make it on fuel in 110 laps at this track. So it comes down to, I'm watching Kevin King right now saving fuel down there in that bottom lane. So obviously in his book, he's like, all right, if we're going to have wrecks all night, then, maybe that is the last stop you see these guys make. But I sense that eventually these guys are going to get together and go.
Yeah, I'm looking at this now. This kind of restacks everything. Kevin's got fresh tires. If he can get back out in front of the 19, I think he's eventually going to drive away from him. I don't know. We've seen it, and there's an anomaly, Chris. Is every once in a while, changing 2 tires actually is faster. So, if someone is going to have that in the notes, it would be Tyler Dalton. I was going to say earlier that driving off of the bottom of the racetrack, like we saw Kevin doing, you tend to push the right side out, and that caution looked like the 91 of Wesley Donaldson just pushed up a little, tagged the 9 of Bobby Wetzel, set him spinning, and everybody else got collected. And that was the reason for caution number 6. Now they're stacked on top of each other. Let's hope that everybody shows a little bit of patience as the pace car peels off. And it's going to leave it to Tyler Dalton, who drives away, and he's going to pull Fuller on the outside lane to second.
How about Fuller making that run all the way from 26 starting position up to the 3rd spot, maybe even a 2nd spot as Dalton to the lead. You mentioned earlier that not much tire wear you're seeing on these cars as of right now. So if that's the case, then 2 tires might not be a bad strategy to try right here as Dalton tries to hold the top side. Kevin trying to rotate the bottom as Dalton leads lap 55 and 3 wide with Josh Parker into turn 1. Almost 4 wide as there's Grajova, there's Comstock, and Robert Friery.
Yeah, the 19 of Dalton tried to do the block. He was successful in holding King back in turn 1 and 2, took his line away, but King got such a drive out of turn number 2 that out of turn 4 goes back to the stack as Pedro Mojica showing a lot of speed coming through the field.
Yep, King back to the front here at lap number 57. You mentioned Mojica. Here he is as these guys go around Seth Foudy, who tried the 2-tire strategy a minute ago. There's Donnie Leah in the 20 car. The 2 of Mike Kelly there. Brian Macklin also a part of this battle. I applaud these guys for trying something. I mean, when you have a race that started the way it has, you have to find different ways to try to steal track position here. As Foudy almost gets into Mojica and almost spins himself out doing it.
I tell you, some of these guys are on kill right now, and we
Fuller.
talk about dynamic. You got to go when they're close to you. To run them down is not an easy thing to do. As Fuller slices left, goes down underneath, King is going to take away that inside line, force him to go to the high side. Fuller going to go through the bump, slide up. They're going to be door to door out of turn 2. Fuller a little bit loose.
Good stuff here. Fuller able to rotate that bottom lane. King squeezing him a little bit, not too badly, as Pedro Mojica has spun, and now Beasley goes into the wall, along with Seth Foudy now spinning.
Yeah, Fuller was loose out of turn 2. King was able to drive by him, and now they're going to see the caution, and it'll reset everything.
Not sure if Mojica actually did spin. I saw him up against the outside wall, but the first thing I saw was the side of the 10 car spinning. And caution out again. Let's see as we roll this bean footage.
Yeah, it looked like the 30 tagged to 58 got him sideways. He went up and nicked the wall. Not heavy contact for
Oh,
Mojica.
yeah, right there. Okay, yep.
And then the 10 trying to take evasive action had to pull it hard left, and everybody kind of planked each other through the middle of the corner.
Let's hit the stop button and go find Mojica really quickly here. There he is on pit road now. And it looks like Macklin had gotten loose. It looked like he and Mike Kelly had touched over in 1 and 2. And I brought Mojica into the picture, and Macklin just gets into the back of him.
That almost looked like, well, I don't want to say it. It was so weird. Like, why did he?
Let's
Was there something we missed in advance of that?
well, let's see here. All right, Macklin gets loose right there on the bumps in 1. That draws Mojica into the picture, and here they come down the back straightaway. I don't know
Maybe
what.
he's just aggravated that he lost the track position and drove it in a little harder.
Maybe it could be something of sorts like that, and might have lost his mark on the track or whatever. Or I mean, it could be anything. But unfortunately, Pedro Mojica was at the wrong spot at the right time.
Yeah, one could say maybe the 58 drove down across him too. Let's call that the possibility, because the 58 was turning in and the 30 did not. So that might not all be on the Lung Force Toyota of Macklin. That could be just a misjudge of Pedro turning in a little earlier. You know, when you don't race every week, you kind of lose some of that sightline timing. Like, I know when I sweep past somebody carrying this amount of speed, I'm safe to turn left at this point, you know, one of those moments.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% here, but just an unfortunate circumstance there. I don't know, you know, and this is kind of how, just to explain myself here a little bit. I've been involved in about 95% of wrecks on iRacing that you can be involved in. If it's netcode, if it's somebody retaliating, if it's somebody getting loose, if it's... So when I explain these wrecks and how I see them, it's pretty much one of those where, like, I've seen them before. So it's like, this is what it looks like. That one's probably in that 5% category. That it's like,
Yeah, been there and done that.
Not sure about this one. But it looks like maybe somebody, Macklin maybe misjudged the corner just a little bit there and just unfortunately got into Mojica, but he also might have locked the brakes up. I mean, that could be another possibility. And got into turn 3 and unfortunately got into Mojica. So just unfortunate circumstances there. And, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately.
Couple top cars too. You know, with it is rather challenging that most of the incidents here have been up in the front running pack tonight.
Yeah, that's fair. And you wonder if that's maybe where guys are racing a little hard, or the air might be a little more dirtier, I guess, if that's a word to use. But either way, that's been interesting here so far tonight.
I got my eye on Frito chips. Josh Parker sitting there in 5th. You know, it's kind of funny. Think about what we said on the intro. Who were the drivers we mentioned were going to give King? Fuller, Kelly, Parker, and Tyler Dalton.
Your top 5.
They're your top 5. We thought these are the drivers to bring it to him, and here they are, stacked right behind him. So if I'm him, I am feeling the pressure of seeing that talent sitting right there behind me.
And of course, after the top 5, the rest of your top 10 is Brian Macklin in 6th, Joseph Grijalva 7th, David Comstock, Donnie Leah, Robert Friery, your top 10, Mons there in 11th, and Eric Arnold in 12th. Good theory there is a lot of the guys that you're seeing up in the top 10 now are actually involved in some stuff here earlier in the races. We go back green, lap 64 as Kevin's on it. Fuller gave him a run for his money there right before that yellow. Can he do it again here?
There's 3 wide out in the back there with
TJ.
81 and Parker also looking to see whether he can find a little space. And Tyler Dalton still hanging tough there with the 2-tire change as King covers Fuller and streaks across to complete lap 65, working lap 66. And for the first time tonight, we're seeing the 2 of Mike Kelly flex a little bit of muscle.
He was at the race last night, and he's here. He's like, I want to win this race now. Kind of like Ryan Blaney did. As you see Grijalva to the bottom, you see Dalton battle with the 2 car, and that car you saw up top a little bit ago, as I mentioned, EJ's running the EJ lane back there. So I think he actually had gotten a wall off turn 1 and 2 again. But needless to say, he continues on. I did catch Wesley Donaldson for some reasons a lap down. Not sure if he got some damage from the wreck. And we didn't catch the issue on the 91 here. But 3 wide up here's Parker through the middle for 3rd. Parker racing, need I say it again, with a chip on his shoulder. Or Fritos.
Now he's got to be a little careful.
Oh, Comstock.
Get himself settled in.
Comstock has gone around on the front straightaway.
On his own, it looks like. Didn't have any help. So now it's the other side of the racetrack. We've not talked much about it, but As treacherous as 2 is, you can do this over turn 4, as I said on the opening. If you pick up the throttle the wrong way, the car just unbinds and you see this textbook reverse pirouette that Comstock did. And that's another tricky part of this racetrack.
Yeah, there's really not a tricky part of this racetrack. Even pit road entry is tricky. But Comstock on the bottom here.
Abrupt.
Yeah, as
Pit road is so abrupt.
it is very. And yeah,
Loose, and
oh, he about got drilled by Simley there. There goes Joey Stone to the inside. That was one of those just lazy spins, unfortunately, on the 13 part. He was trying to keep it off of Eric Arnold, who was going to come with a run to the top side there, and David just lost the back end again. So tough break there for the Beast Monster number 13.
yeah, very uncharacteristic of him as that veteran generally is finding other people's problems, not causing it himself. And tonight he is the one that pulled the ticket.
So unfortunately, caution out again after the spin for Comstock as Kevin King has led the most laps here. Fuller been putting some pressure on him. How about that move by Parker up the middle there to make it 3 wide?
Yeah, that almost felt like a smoke him if you got him moment.
Pretty much.
Just trying to get his track position, right? You can't beat Kevin if you're not in contact with him. And a lot of times what ends up happening is you're racing him, trying to get to him, and you get held up by others and he drives away. Well, pretty interesting so far.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've had the cautions here tonight, but it's still not held people back from making their moves. I mean, I mentioned Fuller up 24 spots, Parker up 27, and not to mention Parker has been involved in an incident here tonight. Fuller just gained positions through missing wrecks and people coming to pit road.
'84 of Cal and Tony on pit road getting some service. So there's a dynamic we need to discuss, and it has to do with tire wear. It said to you tire wear is fairly even and not so severe. Tyler Dalton, we know, took 2 tires. We've had 8 cautions for 35 laps, and we're running lap 70. So 35 laps under green on the tire wear, and a lot of these drivers already changed tires, most of them, around lap 50. So from that standpoint, 20 laps on the tires with, let's see, 1, 2, 3 cautions. There's not a lot of green flag tire wear for these guys. So I think when the green flag drops, nobody's going to be looking for tires, and they still have plenty left on those Goodyears to run as hard as they want.
So, Kevin, I'm not one that's going to question what these guys do because they know what they're doing here in the league and stuff, and a lot of these drivers have the knowledge and the talents of these cars and can make their own decisions and that kind of thing. So I'm going to go back to what I said at lap 50 when the whole entire field came down pit road. Why didn't others stay out? Because look what has happened.
The age-old mentality. You have to feel like you'd be a sitting duck.
I mean, yes, it did not work for the 11 of Seth Foudy. It didn't work necessarily for the 19, but here you go. Look, Tyler Dalton's still in the 5th position right now. Foudy, unfortunately, was involved in that incident. But if you're fast enough, you could probably hang out right here in the top 5, and you've saved yourself a set of tires for later in this race in case you need them to, a run for the finish or whatever. Where, a lot of these guys have used a set of tires here. We're just coming up on halfway in about 7 laps. If we go another, say, 20 laps and we put another set of tires on, then we go another 20 more laps, and then we get a caution at, say, 110, all of a sudden that extra set of tires kind of comes into play.
Yeah, I just don't know the tires. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze, especially from a track position standpoint.
Okay.
You don't see the drop-off from tire wear at this racetrack to hoard the tires. I just don't see it from my experience. So from that standpoint, I think you're going to break the race into 4 segments, 3 segments, and you're going to take tires when it affords the opportunity, and everybody followed that mindset on lap 50.
All right, so we're going to try to go green again here, lap number 73. Shout out to the viewers hanging out here tonight. Hopefully you're enjoying the broadcast and stuff. And obviously, we're going to go green. Lap number 73, Kevin King launches. Fuller going to hang out there in second, and now Parker to the bottom of Dalton. As you see, Josh not afraid to make those moves.
Yeah, I think Josh is looking to put a little pressure. He wants to get out front. He signaled it just before the caution came out. He's a little sideways here and there, but that means he's just hustling the car. And ideally, you need to be at the back bumper in order to take the opportunity. We talk about looking for a possible mistake from Kevin King. He doesn't make any. If you want the lead, you got to drive around him.
As we roar down the back straightaway, seeing 2 and 3 wide racing. Mons made a good move to the outside a minute ago. Now we're back here at O'Rourke, who once again hits the outside wall with Bobby Wetzel. And then also, oh, hold on, EJ. Oh, contact, and there he goes. Into the wall, Stoney Benfield. So is the 22 Rivera gets hit.
Comstock drives through it all as debris on the front straightaway.
Unfortunately, and now the caution waves again.
This is where I think some of these top drivers are going to start cautioning the rest of the drivers that they need to settle down a little bit back there. Let the race come to them.
Let's watch here. Chad Coleman, I think, got some damage in it too. And you know Chad Coleman, he's one that will speak his mind. O'Rourke just loses the back end, slams into Benfield, gets hit by Coleman. Coleman goes sliding. He gets finished off by Gonzalez. Semley with damage.
That's painful to watch.
Unfortunately, we're at the point already in this race where we're going to talk about cars that are not damaged.
And, you know, you talk about these incidents occurring. That's a rather unusual one on the high side to see a car lose control. But when you're in the middle of the field and everybody's stacked on top of each other, carrying as much speed as they can out of the corner, it's hard to get checked up. You think you could stop on a dime, but you really can't. And then the 75 sitting flat sideways across the racetrack is just no place to go. The cars do not hang left, hang right.
Right.
Stop on a dime. You're just going too fast.
Yeah, unfortunate deal there. And the only thing I can see on that, Kev, was it looks like EJ might have expected Bobby to slide up the track. Let's look at this from the crash cam. It looks like he thinks Bobby, and I'm just kind of playing driver's eye here again. He sees Wetzel going to slide up the track. And by doing that, EJ's like, I need to cross back to the bottom. Not to mention he's in the wall there. He's like, okay, sliding up. I need to cross back in, loses grip on the rubber on the track because remember there's marbles up there. And a couple T-bone stakes. Let's add Van Schaik to the list.
You could have stood to get out of the gas a little, maybe.
Yes, but can I say it's EJ? he's kind of aggressive on that gas pedal. And I mean that respectfully to the young man.
Still a young man. I don't think, Bobby Wetzel, the 21's up in no man's land.
Saw Josh Parker.
Yeah, very strange. I'm sure he expected the 9 to come up. The 9 did not show any signs that he was not going to come across the racetrack.
We're gonna have some fun here, and try to lighten it up here for a second.
Let's loose.
Yeah,
maybe that's a wake thing.
Maybe it could have been anything. It could be a wake thing. Could have been trying to cross over, getting on the marbles. But either way, Mike Kelly's here. Hello, Mike.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not much, buddy. How was your trip to the Iowa Speedway last night?
Great, man. A lot of good racing.
It was some good racing. Did you partake in any Love's Travel Stop or McDonald's on the backstretch?
I did not, but I had a few watermelons.
Attaboy. So,
or margaritas.
So that's a track you think going to host some more races down the road?
I hope so. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what they were doing with that repave, but they were still able to run. I thought it was Cityway. There was a lot of side-by-side racing. They were getting 3 wide I think if they get that top redone and give them another groove up there with more banking, God knows what would happen. But I was impressed.
Does
I've
it?
been waiting a long time to see him
Oh,
there.
no kidding. Does it? I've been harping on this for a while, and I'm not going to take credit for it, but I'm just going to state that I've said it. That I feel like a lot of the tracks, all they need to do is put progressive banking on it, and it'll fix the issue with the racing. Did Iowa prove that last night?
Well, yes, I think that's definitely true if it's done right.
Like
I mean,
Dover,
I
for
think
instance.
Kansas really came to
Right.
life. Vegas came to life. Iowa, I think they did perfect with their, how they did it and what degrees they picked, because
Right.
they've always ran everywhere on that track. So yeah, I'm a big fan of progressive banking.
There you go. Now, let's talk about this race here for a second. Been interesting here.
Yeah.
Does this change your strategy up at all? Of like, all right, look, it's all
What
about track
strategy?
position. Well, I
Yeah.
know, but I
Yeah.
mean, because eventually it's either can you save enough fuel from here and go to the finish?
Yeah, we're all good to go to the finish.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why we all pitted and took tires there because, we knew there'd be we can make it.
Does this pick up the aggressiveness, you think, because of the lack of green?
I have no idea. I wish we'd just run some green flag laps at this point.
I can speak for me and a few other viewers and Kevin that agree with that. So, hey, best of luck. You're going green again.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. As green flag about to come out here just past the halfway point, lap number 80. Kevin King, Justin Fuller, Tyler Dalton, Joseph Grajova, Mike Kelly are top 5 as King and back on the pedal. And once again gets to restart here as they work their way down to turn 1. And I don't know, Kev, you think they got that talk yet?
They're having the conversation in the channel about the incident committee.
Oh,
they
boy.
got their work cut out for them this week.
Yeah,
Because as you
fact.
point, about half the field's been involved in something.
Usually that channel after the race has been more for the entertaining side of things because of just people with wrecks and things like that. I don't know if that's going to be the case tonight. Look at 3 wide again. Kelly pushes up into Eric Arnold. Here comes Donnie Leah to the bottom. 4 wide almost there for a second.
Oh, boy. All right, let's settle in here, boys. Let's go.
I mean, you see the reason why the track's fun is Grajala leans down on Leah. He has Kelly to his top side. They door each other again.
Lots of change out front. King, Fuller, Dalton, who's still hanging tough with 2 tires. Macklin, Arnold has come to the top 5 around Mike Kelly. Mike Montesi trying to make a recovery after that incident earlier where he had a single car spin back on lap 36. He's currently running 15.
Richard Beasley's in the grass. No caution. He's kept it down off the track as he takes I guess that'd be the backstretch of the go-kart track or Legends car, whatever you want to use.
That's the drag strip, I call it,
You call
because
it
when
that
you
too?
miss pit road, you're
Fair.
floored trying to make up speed because it's so hard to get to pit road.
Mike Montesi trying to work his way back up through the field after being involved in one of the incidents. Chad Coleman right there, Jose Gonzalez and others right here mid-pack. This is the 10th, 11th, 12th, all the way back through 16th position here. And there's Pedro Mojica trying to work his way back up through the field after being involved in that incident early in this race.
If you'd have told me on lap 86 that Wesley Donaldson and David Comstock could be battling for 23rd with Comstock a lap down in 32nd, I would have said no way. Ain't no way.
Unfortunately, that is the case. We've seen all the weirdness tonight. You have to wonder if there's a full moon outside tonight.
Josh Parker's back in 20th. I mean, it is a very strange night.
88 laps complete down to the 160. So Kelly said, Kev, that he can make it all the way on fuel from here. Which
You
means
could run about
one stop,
100 laps on fuel easily.
which is amazing.
100 and change. So fuel is never going to be a problem for these guys. As soon as they we got one sideways, nosed into the wall, goes to
Priory.
77.
Yep. Oh, and
Tags
Parker.
the 81. Parker slides across the racetrack, collects South Seth Vowdy. Ho. That was a last minute. You remember we were talking last week about those surprise moments. The next thing you know, that was certainly one for Josh Parker, as he couldn't have seen that coming.
Parker, broken toe link on the front, it looks like, on that Fritos. Unfortunately, once again, his car looks like a walking taco. But needless to say, caution out again. I dare ask Kevin how many sheets you are on paper-wise?
I do it electronically, and I'm making notes and keep pushing my stats down to the next page from the. I'm not sure what happened with Fryer. He was
Just
down on
lost
the
it.
bottom. And I think it's just one of those out of turn 4. Woo, woo, woo,
Oh,
woo.
Jose, nowhere to go. Let me watch here. I want to see this again from the crash cam. And thank you, by the way, Ven. Whoever you are, I appreciate you watching. And if you want to throw your name out there on stream, or I can call you Ven. That works too. Uh-huh. I say uh-huh because I've kind of caught. Oof. Foudy took a lick from Parker.
Yeah.
As we do got some cars coming to pit road here. Fuller's in. Donaldson. So Fuller's going to try to go off strategy here. So let's look at where Robert is as he comes to the exit of this corner. Now, obviously, he's about a groove lower than where you should be coming off the corner. But as we hit the stop button right there, I'll back it a little bit. Notice the back end starts coming around. Actually, it's before the transition there. So, heck, I can't even take the blame in saying it's the transition there. But, yeah, back end just comes around. Maybe a little bit of a tight loose. Probably brought him around. Overcorrects it into the outside wall. Whammo. As we speed it up here, you look up top, you can see Parker go sliding up. And, I mean, he goes elevator to the top and takes the 11 with him.
Yeah, you know, I just, this is one of those racetracks, like I said earlier, that you could come out of that corner 8 times, and on the 9th time, the car just breaks loose for no reason, which is why I tend to be so slow here, because I will not step on the gas. He has no idea this is coming.
Oh, that was a suck. That was the worst.
That was like a Tom Cruise moment.
Oh, those are the... We're good. I'm through it. Up.
What tire's on my car?
Not so much.
He
Oh.
wrecked my car.
Ooh, talking about a potential chance for having some kind of carpal tunnel syndrome tonight. We worry about Barney the flag man here.
Yeah, I just, you know, one of the only way you could compensate for that crazy, I don't know if it's going to happen to me moment is just not, you can't mash the throttle. You have to wait till the car's bone straight and then you step on the gas.
Right. The question
And
I
you
have
need
here...
to make sure that at any point, if you're forced on the racetrack to go through the bumps, that your left foot is toe to the air.
Did you
You're
run...
not running it down.
Did you run NIS?
I finished 4th this week.
Congratulations. Great job. So the reason why I asked that, did you feel any kind of tightness in the corner at all? Like mid-corner?
Tight, loose, backwards, sideways.
Fair enough.
That's what I said. It's treacherous.
The
This
reason-
track is treacherous.
Well, the reason why I asked that is...
You ran during the day.
Oh, jeez. Well, the reason why I asked that is you wonder how much the car was in turn. Like, I want to go... Let's... we're not 1 to green yet, so we got a minute here. Let's go on board with Fryery, and I want to see his wheel. Because if he's got his wheel turned and is exiting the corner as shallow as he is... Let me watch the wheel here. Still at about 11. Still at about 11. Still, and the back end just comes around. So, yeah, I can't even say it's tight loose. I'm going to blame that on Ross Chastain. There we go. Done.
It just lack of grip in the right rear. Lack of security.
No,
that could have been the word of the day, security, right? Because you just don't have a lot of security out of the corner, especially turn 2.
No side force either on the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing to catch the right side when it gets in the all like you talk about. So.
And it's completely in the hands of the driver. But, you know, in order to make speed, you need to be stomping the rights of foot. And you have to make a decision.
All right, going to try to go green here at lap number 94. Pace car going to hang a left, as Kevin King has been the guy leading the most laps here. And I mentioned Justin Fuller. He pitted under that caution. He restarts 20th now. So Fuller obviously good to go. Probably took tires and fuel there. So if this race goes green, that might be the trick right there from Fuller.
I'm trying to figure out, did we lose Josh Parker?
Yes, he is behind the wall. Yes.
Retired.
Yeah, behind the wall you have currently right now Seth Foudy, Josh Parker, Joey Stone, Mark Jorgensen went behind the wall. Don't even know why there. He just went behind the wall. Kevin Stone and Keith Haney, unfortunately.
Well, how about I'm just so impressed with Tyler Dalton. Still hanging tough in second. 2-tire change. Continues to show speed.
You got to remember, the more cautions you get, the cooler the tires get, and that helps those 2 tires. Because then you get more and more heat cycles on the car. As the first battle here on track, it's the 5th position here as Kevin DeBrown tries to get around Grzyalva. And Kevin's going to slide up there and take the spot.
It looks a little sideways coming up out of the corner, but
caution.
Back to here.
EJ O'Rourke. I got EJ O'Rourke in the grass.
Yeah.
Robert Fryery I just saw go to pit road, so it might have been him too, but EJ's got a broken something in the front end. I see the sparks. Left front's dragging. And let's see what happened here.
'77 got loose again.
He sure did. Same area. Well, a little bit earlier. Wow, T-bone steak.
I have to assume that the '77 had the sentiment that I had last couple weeks ago. Fill this place with water. Make a fish pond out of it.
Why don't we just make... Never mind, I'm not doing it. I was going to say, there's a corn joke I could throw there.
Don't be corny.
Hey, oh shucks. And now Kevin King's going to come to pit road here.
I got my ear on you.
We're going to do that. We've gotten to this part now.
Yeah. I think all the top runners are going to come. The question is, what did Tyler Dalton do?
He stayed out. Kevin King comes to pit road. Donnie Leah, Chad Coleman, about the quarter of the field comes to pit road. And let's step away for a break. We'll come back, and we got 60 laps to go here at the Iowa Speedway as you're watching the NC811.org Cup Series here on the Captain Esports Network.
What a nice day to install my new mailbox.
Hi there, friend. I'm Dig Safely Man. My job is to ensure you call 811 before you dig.
Why do I need to do that?
Vital utilities like natural gas and electric run just beneath the Earth's surface. Damaging them can cause service interruption, environmental hazards, or personal injury.
I thought only contractors had to call before they dig, so homeowners do too.
Call 3 business days before you dig unless you have X-ray vision. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are here at the Iowa Speedway. Tyler Dalton leading with 59 laps to go. And next week on the Cup Series schedule, as I peek over here really quickly, we go racing at the Nashville Super Speedway. It'll be the final race before we take 2 weeks off in the 4th of July holiday. And so Nashville Super Speedway, 140 laps next Monday night at 8:15 Eastern Time. Of course, yesterday the Xfinity Series ran at Watkins Glen, and Justin Fuller winning that race. But obviously, leagues racing everywhere on Sim500. Of course, they run pretty much 7 nights a week. Tuesday night, a Super Speedway Series that races a different particular car at Talladega. Last week was the 87s, I believe. This week is...
That was a blast.
Was it really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not surprised by that. Looks like the next gen car tomorrow night at Talladega for 40 laps. So that should be a pretty fun one there. Wednesday night, Trans-Service Truck Series. As they currently are racing, they pretty much run close to the truck schedule, and matter of fact, they're in their playoffs right now. EJ O'Rourke running at Richmond last week. They're at Dover coming up this Wednesday night, Dover Motor Speedway. Wesley Donaldson winning at Talladega in the truck series in that first playoff race, so congratulations to those two. Friday night, Sunday Midnight Thunder just getting underway again, leading us back to what we have tonight, tomorrow, Sunday night and Monday nights here on the Captain Esports Network. So as now the 29 has come to pit road.
All eyes are on the 16th position as Kevin King now sits behind the melee. And the question is, can he run cleanly back up with these fresh tires?
We've seen Kevin
all the way through. We've seen him do this before.
We've seen him get frustrated, too, with this stuff. And needless to say, if tonight he gets involved in something, that frustration might turn to anger. Yeah, I mean, he's got a padded cushion to the point lead right now, but it's only going to take one mistake tonight, and something could evaporate that really quickly. As Tyler Dalton leads him to the green flag, Brian Macklin, Kevin DeBrown, Joseph Grzyalva, Mike Kelly are top 5.
Tense moments as they roll through turns 1 and 2 after the restart. Fresh tires out back will make everybody look in the rearview mirror as they know they're going to be coming.
As Yoakum about wrecked it off turn 2 there, as we are 3 wide back here with King, with Van Schaik, with David Comstock. Mons thinking 4. Don't do it. That was going to be one of those where I was about to yell through my... I actually about yelled through my monitor. Don't do it, Justin. Don't do it.
Nashville next week has a very similar design to this racetrack, but there's so much more security.
And concrete. Dalton running the fastest lap of the race right there, 23:83. So he's definitely putting it down now and saying, all right, y'all got to catch... Oh, hold on.
9 for Wetzel had a really scary moment.
Eric. I'll say that is not a good entry into that corner. He washed up, but did a good job keeping it off of Pedro.
Got one to the inside on turn 1. It's the
Mike Kelly.
Mike Kelly gathers it up. He was flat 90 degrees to the racetrack.
Great catch.
Went down on the apron, and just before he collected the inside concrete, he was able to get it woed down, turned it right, and drove out of it. We stay green.
We do stay green, and 108 laps in the books.
King to 9th. Following Pedro Mojica, but Pedro running the top line. I'm just so impressed with how Kevin can run the bottom down there.
I mean, he's driving like a champion, puts himself in the safest spots possible, gets out there and just keeps himself out of trouble as he comes up on the back of Wesley Donaldson. Now he's in the 6th position. Wesley doing a good job of working his way up here through the field, staying out of trouble.
Dalton now to the biggest lead we've seen all night long as he continues to leg it out there with the 2 tires that are 50 laps old, 60 laps old. That car is on a rail.
Jose Gonzalez about sending it on Beasley. That could have been bad, but everybody prevailed. As we ride with Mike Kelly now 16th position after running in the top 5 earlier in this evening. Had to go save his car just a second ago. You see Scott Simley now in that battle. Chad Coleman.
Great run here for Grzyalva as he runs in the 5th position. showing that he's here each week now to be a factor in this as King slides up in front of him to the 5th position. Kevin King to 5th here at lap 111. 40 laps to go, plenty of time to go. He is the fastest car on the racetrack, visibly.
Oh yeah, you get to see him roaring through the field. He and Justin Fuller up to 4th now. King up to the 5th position. So Kevin just trying to chase down Justin as they feel like this could be the battle for the win. Those two cars right there, as they have roared up here through the field. And this is one of those, I don't think you can be hesitant to burn your tires up making a move, because it just seems like you never know when the next, if you will, bomb might go off in the race session and have a caution come out. As 3 wide here, Simley in the middle, Coleman on the outside, Wortman on the, or I'm sorry, Wortman, the wrong, Wetzel. Ooh.
Sideways is the 2 of Mike Kelly out at, oh no, that's the 12.
Simley.
Did it again. Gonna put a quarter in the jar. Or is it $1 this week?
I think we just keep it, we don't put any money in there because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's very easy to mix up. There's nothing to separate the two cars color-wise. I mean, they both got the yellow numbers.
Well, especially since they're running side by side there.
Right.
But the 15 of Alan Wild, very nervous moment out of turn 2, but he gathered it up, kept it going the right direction. One thing to note is as we get down to 50 to go, drivers lose their mind. It's not a dig. That's just,
right.
It's 50 to go. Time to go.
And,
cash register's ringing. I want to go collect a check.
King just got by Fuller for the 3rd position here, so that could be in the end a battle for the lead when it's over with here. Of course, you got to catch the leader respectfully and make the pass there. But here we are now starting to. Well, I say that as one car is up the track towards the back there. I think it's Simley. So it's starting to get that green flag run here that we've been waiting on.
Yeah, Simley's car hopped out over the bump there, went out, tagged the outside wall. He got out of the gas, let it collect, and drove away. Back there for the 22nd position, I believe.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Oh, Alan Wild and Van Schijk getting into each other. I'm sure the way the racing, these guys, I'm sure the anger, the temperament, if you will.
One of those I'm sorry moments as they exchange communication.
My bad.
Well, okay, now we have a little bit of a conveyor belt. Look, oh, there goes a 41 out of turn 2.
As King goes to the lead here inside of Tyler Dalton. Lap 118, as you said, the 41 went for a spin there, but Kevin King goes to the lead. And Justin Mullins had to go make a save, and now is under attack. He and Comstock, and they've had a recent conversation amongst each other. And of course, Comstock and up caution, Stoney Benfield. And that, I believe, is the longest run of the race.
Yeah, I believe Stoney's car looked a little nervous over the last couple exits out of turn 4.
There is not an end on that car that has been not hit tonight.
So if I am Tyler Dalton and I just watched these guys drive from 15th up.
Yes.
And I have no shot at winning, I'm going to pit road here.
I agree 100%. Oh, Stoney and Brandy Yoakum get together. Some 811 argy-bargy. And simple spin there by Benfield brings out the yellow. And Kevin King's coming back to pit. Oh, he faked him. Fuller is in.
Had a driver fake in the NIS race and hit somebody.
That's you know, that's going to happen, obviously.
Come on.
A majority of the field coming in here. Looks like only about 15 cars staying out here. I mean, Mojica, Kelly, Coleman, Macklin, Van Schijk, Comstock, Wetzel, DeBrown, Donaldson, Grajova, Fuller, Simley, Rivera, Mons, Wild, and Sigmund all on pit road here.
84 of Calantoni, it appears that he got the lucky dog.
Looks like he is now 3 laps down in that 84 car. So Tyler Dalton does not
there's
pit.
a chance, right?
Well, the thing about it, Dalton did pit, which I find very interesting. Eric Arnold stays out. Patrick Colby stays out. Donnie Leah pitted at that last caution. He stays out in 5th. So the first car is going to end up being Wesley Donaldson. And I would not be surprised if these guys that pitted at 120 here just made their final stop.
Yeah, I'm just kind of confused as to why Tyler didn't go in. If he'd have pitted, he'd have been in the front of the stack of all those cars that pitted, and he'd be running about 7th or 8th place. Now, he's only going to have a handful of laps better than the drivers out front, so maybe he's thinking he's going to get to the end and make one of those charges.
Maybe we should find out. Let's ask the driver of the 19 car. Tyler, you get a copy?
Gotcha.
Obviously, we've had some interesting racing here tonight, and it has opened up pretty much the worms when it comes to strategy here. And the one that we're talking about right now is obviously you elected to stay out here, and obviously with the 2-tire stop you made at 50, are we not seeing the wear on the left sides that kind of told you to come to pit road here, and you feel like you could fight still for a win, if not a top 5?
I'm not sure about a win with Kevin up there, but I don't know. It felt like it still had speed. I sort of regretted pitting after seeing how many did pit. Didn't expect that many to pit. But yeah, we haven't changed the left yet, period. And we got like 73 on the rights. But speed was honestly still there. I ran my fastest lap of the entire race with like 100 laps on the left side tires.
So obviously the question here, I can't help but think here, is you guys are probably not pitting at all the rest of this race then, I would think. Unless you go green for 30 laps here.
Right. But yeah, the thing is right now, it's just the top is so dominant that it just feels like the bottom line is dead. So even if you're a little bit slower, if you can hook the top and protect the top, it's hard for guys to get by you.
Well, there you go. Well, hey, best of luck. We appreciate it, man. Good run there in second. I know it's not been the most interesting situation tonight, but hey, all the best.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Tyler Dalton running second, and let's get him down to his room here, and can't help but ask you if I can get this to work out. There we go. Kevin, obviously, I got to ask you the question now. You hear Tyler's thinking behind it. Agree with that? Disagree with that? Is that, I mean, I know it's a big wild card right now, and it's like you don't know what's behind door number 2 right now. So
he was talking about the high line being dominant. Has he not looked to his left?
I think he realizes that Kevin King's an anomaly. So
he is, apparently. Like an alien or something, because he's the only one running the bottom. Shorter way around, I guess.
Well, getting ready to go back green here. Lap 125, 35 laps to go. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us here tonight, and hopefully enjoying the stream. And I have learned an acronym tonight. I cannot say it publicly because there's a word in there I can't say, but I've learned an acronym. We'll just say thank you in chat to RSJR's 14 Tech 14 on YouTube. Green flag back out. Look at the 4th position now.
They're brave now with fresh tires.
Patrick Colby up here in the 3rd position. Here comes Jose Gonzalez. His beak, if you will, Dolphin, was knocked off the car earlier. Richard Beasley, who was head first into the wall a little bit ago, he's now up here in 7th. And then there's a whole gaggle of a mess here in about 8th and 9th. And oh boy, right there, Fuller into somebody, and around goes Kevin Brown.
Caught it.
Caution is out. Brian Macklin involved also. That might have been Yoko.
Running 5th there. That had a little something to do with maybe the 75.
Trying to see, was it Stoney that was up there? Okay, it was Stoney. I saw Yoakum and I saw another 811 car. If Fuller's going to try to stick it up the middle here, and unfortunately, I mean, they're pretty much 4 wide right there. Macklin gets damaged and then sideswipes Mike Kelly, who gets sideswiped by Grzyalva. Everybody get your sideswipes. If these cars had real mirrors, they would have lost them all.
The bump was something in the 80s or 90s, right?
Well, there was a B2K song back in 2000. Am I supposed to be referencing? Oh, and Coleman actually had given the bumper to Grzyalva back there, I just noticed.
It's a pretty hard hit on the left front there. I wonder if he has a broken toe link on that car. Count Tony, one more lap back. Pretty confident he was going to get back to the lead lap. He's only 1 lap down now.
I need to check how many laps down he was at one point in this race.
Yeah, the 75 just loose.
Oh, they're 3 wide. Okay. That's full to get through there. Holy cow. All right, so 31 laps to go. And again, these guys, Nashville Super Speedway next week for the Cup Series. However, Sunday is the race I want to invite you to also. The NC811.org Xfinity Series race. Kev, you ready for this one? We go to Talladega Super Speedway for the regular season finale, where the point standings for the Super Speedway and for this Xfinity Series, because last night you had 23 cars show up at Watkins Glen because the race was during the Cup race last night. Okay. They had a kind of lighter field, and you pull out the old Yahtzee can, it shook up the field when it comes to the playoff standings. Now, I'm not able to show you the numbers here because I got it in another file here, but what I can do is explain it to you basically when it's all said and done. The top 9 guys are in the playoffs. Mac all the way down to Mac McMillan. And then down here at the bubble, 16th position, Brent Scott has 10 points over the 17th place guy, who's got 3, who's got 7, who's got 8, who's got 10. It is literally a 10-point separation for 16th down to 21st in the point standings. And we're looking at a race at Talladega where I made a hot take last night off the air. I said Brian Wortman would win next week at Talladega and make the playoffs.
All things are possible.
Exactly. At Talladega, no kidding.
At
and
Talladega, all things are possible.
Of course, he said, I'm out of my, I've never heard Wortman say that word, mind. But that's not the first time I've been told that either. So, anyways, I mean, I am commentating iRacing right now. So, yes, I'm out of my mind. So I would suggest you come join us on Sunday at Talladega Super Speedway for the finale of the 811 Xfinity Series, and then come back on Monday night and watch the Cup Series at Nashville. You think that's scary? They start the playoffs at Bristol.
Yeah.
Just get them out of the way.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun side of it all, isn't it?
It is.
Now, I told you at the beginning that cars could take a licking and keep being competitive. How many cars have we seen take some massive hits, and they're still all pretty competitive?
Yeah, I mean, they've had plenty of time to get their damage fixed up, and you know, the new damage model they came out with a couple builds ago obviously has allowed these cars to be fully fixed now, and they'll run 100%. We'll see what we got here. I think everyone's beds are made here. 29 laps to go. Kevin King launches as he's led to most laps in this race. Tyler Dalton, Patrick Colby, Eric Arnold, Jose Gonzalez. Fresh tires now up to about the 9th position, or freshest tires, we should say now. We did have more cars come to pit road there.
Check the box. We completed turn 2. Come to this.
Look at Patrick Colby go for second. we sit here and we talk about the guy. Oh, hold on, Jose. He saves it. Nice save. And now it turns into a literally interstate mess here in the back straightaway.
This is not going to be pretty on entry. Mojica, he just darted it through the middle there, trying to get away from everybody in the number 58.
How did they not wreck there? Good job by everybody. I was about to say, if Patrick Colby, we sit here and talk about the guys that we think could, like, de-seat the 29 car for a win or something, and it's like, okay, Patrick Colby was not on the list. But yet he's up here trying to do it.
Yeah, having an outstanding run. Probably the run of the season.
Oh, look at this, 3 wide into 1. As Fuller just ran the fastest lap of the race, 23.80, and took the 6th position away doing it.
Hey, the car that's coming is Mojica. He is on the charge.
Mojica's coming through the field now. Fuller's on his way. Randy
Tyler Dalton sideways. Able to collect the car. He's going to lose a lot of positions there on that. As they're going to continue to go around him on the entry to turn 3.
Fuller for second, 3 wide.
And
sorry, Kev just wants Fuller send it in there to turn 3 and 4 and make a move for 3rd. I thought it was for 2nd for a minute.
And Eric Arnold, where did he come from?
Fuller's driving
sideways through 1 and 2. Eric Arnold.
Everybody sideways, but Fuller's driving this car like a man on a mission.
He, like King, has found that bottom line and has found the speed, but King is gone.
23 laps to see if he can catch him.
Caution will put him right back on the back bumper. Not that I'm looking for one.
I was going to say, Kevin's running out of computer. He's running out of the 150 letters he has on Twitter or X. .22 to go. Some contact with Grzelva back there with Comstock.
Just you keep scanning back and forth, head going left, head going
I'm looking
right,
everywhere. Right.
Like, see, where is it going to happen? As we see battles all over the racetrack, except up front. Kevin King is just...
not so fast, my friend. Fuller a little bit faster on that that lap. It's down to 1.5 seconds.
It's 1.50 right there. So let's see where this ends up. We'll go a lap or 2 and see if that comes back.
Oh, contact. Beasley in the wall, and Grzelva and Joachim come together.
We stay green here. 141. We're inside 10 to go here in Iowa.
These guys are putting their elbows out here.
Well, they're 3 wide out of turn number 4 there for about the 6th position, and everybody drives out of it. As looks like the 31 has got a tremendous amount of pressure underneath.
2 cars up the track off the pace back here in 1 and 2. Not sure who that was. I think one of them was Mark Schrader in the 83 or 35. We haven't said his name all night. In the Red Bull machine, he was off the pace there for a second, but everybody's still going.
Late charge here for Wesley Donaldson, works his way up to 4th position.
Fuller down to 1.2 seconds on King, so he's catching. Oh, and around goes Eric Arnold. Caution goes out, and Comstock's around 2, and he just got hit by Rivera, I think.
What was the caution record? We're at 14.
Now we've passed that.
Okay.
Tyler Dalton, actually, was he involved? He jumped the pit road. So Dalton's gone behind the wall. That would be your 2nd place guy in points.
He needed tires. Maybe this is just him going to...
I don't think you jump in the pit road for tires.
Let's just see what the incident looks like here.
Yeah.
He's up against the outside wall.
Arnold just gets loose, gets tagged by Mojica.
Pretty good hit. Yeah, left side, the car damaged. He's just destroyed. It's quicker for him just to go in and get it fixed than to do anything else. So he called for a tow truck. He wasn't going to be able to drive it in. The left front was killed. So Tyler Dalton, his race goes from hero to zero.
He's kind of trapped in a spot there. He had similar to his outside, tries to let go, and his run slammed into Comstock.
This left side hit right.
Oh, that didn't help things.
Yeah, that one really killed the left front.
All right, more cars coming
up. Pit road, Comstock to pit road, Bobby Wessel, Rivera, Arnold. Macklin's on pit road. Cal and Tony
is 18th.
Is there.
I don't
With 7 laps to go, he feels renewed.
How many laps down was
Talking Giants 84 to the lead lap.
Oh my gosh.
Well, this is going to be fun, I think. It'll be fun to see if Donnie Leah and Fuller and others can put pressure on Kevin, because they're there now. Now, King had pitted with, what, 99 on lap 99,
yep.
And Fuller went 120. So 21 laps, 101 for Donnie Leah, 120 for Donaldson. Patrick Colby's on the same pit cycle as Kevin King, went in on lap 99. And then right behind him, the 58, the 18, and the 38, who we have not talked about Chad tonight, but at least he's kept the car clean, all pitted on lap 120. So from that perspective, now we get to find out whether I'm full of soup, because these guys have 20 laps better on their tires, and we're going to see whether Fuller can do something with it.
Yeah, Fuller obviously with the tires, as you mentioned. Donnie Leah in third. Wesley Donaldson, who, I mean, the way that man's season's going, he's going to need all kinds of help here. He's top 10 in points, but he's either been hero or zero most of the season. Patrick Colby having his best run of the season. And then, obviously, Mojica and others here. But, yeah, the guys to watch here, I think, the 51, the 91, and the 58, all those guys came in at lap 120. And then obviously,
and of course, one of the headlines right now is the 19 of Tyler Dalton. His car is killed. He's sitting down there on pit road, just trying to see if they can finish it in time for him to even come back to the racetrack to catch the checkered flag. So Kevin King going to take the top here for the restart.
And it'll be, what, 12 maybe laps to go, it looks like, when we get that green flag.
These drivers, having seen how much yellow fever we've had tonight, they have no time, Chris. They're going to have to race as hard as they can with the laps they have left in order to get around King if they want to get the win. So I suspect it's going to be game on as they come across the line and hammer down into turn number 1.
Just kind of peeking through the schedule. Of course, I mentioned Nashville, and then we get 2 weeks off. And then, of course, just a few races left before the playoffs start after the race at the Kansas Speedway. Of course, 11 races left in the schedule. And I just happened to check December 9th, the penultimate race on the schedule is at the Iowa Speedway.
I can't help but do this. If you've ever seen the Music Man, they go, Iowa. Every time you say the word. Why no New Hampshire? That's a curiosity for me.
As we come to the green, and there's some biasness in that comment because that's his favorite track, speaking of Kevin, as King launches. I don't disagree with that, though. Fuller tries to climb up to the second groove here. He's got to run.
He's got to get to that quarter panel. He's not going to be able to do it. Will he try the crossover? He's going to push King down the back straightaway.
No silk for you.
King covers the outside line. Fuller going to pull down, try to see if he can draw even here at the start finish. He's to the number. How deep will the 51 drive it in the corner?
Slide job.
That deep.
No!
He's got a nose ahead, but King's got the momentum from the outside.
Attempt to do it,
And
slide job, got him.
Got him, but
Go!
King's going to turn back down underneath to repay the favor. Fuller a little bit loose out of turn number 4. King's got a nose ahead. He loves that bottom line. Yeah, let's see whether Fuller can keep him honest by being to his outside when they come off the corner.
Hey, remember the Atlanta race when King got together with the Josh Parker and who was sitting in third and won the race? Hey, look who's sitting in third right now.
Yeah, well, look
Leslie
who else is
Donaldson. Yeah. Here comes Mohegan.
58 back there underneath the Donnie Leah car.
Mark Schrader wrecking into the wall hard. Front stretch.
And we're going to have to put a pause on this.
Oh,
but
Chad
this is what
Coleman
I'm
involved.
talking about. Oh,
Randy Oakham.
I'm sorry, Chad. Makes you feel bad.
Well, yeah. We feel bad for all these guys. I mean,
Broadcaster curse. It makes you feel bad. He's just minding his own business, having a good time. Rajalba, his car got loose out of turn 4, and he did that right-hand turn.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right in front of Coleman. And then Yoakum just, he must have outbroke himself or something. But then Schrader, back over on the front straightaway over here, wrecked also.
That's a pretty hard hit for the 18. The 8 was just trying to take evasive action.
Yeah, and you see how it just kind of loses the back end there, and he wrecks into Coleman. And then unfortunately, then you have the 35 of Schrader.
That was completely and utterly unrelated. He just got loose, very similar circumstance.
He actually got tagged.
Did he?
Yeah, he got. I looked in the camera as he got hit there, and I don't know if it was Eric Arnold or who that was.
He did. Yeah, he checked up and up. Forgive me, Mark.
Eric Arnold, apparently not a fan of Red Bull.
He dented the can.
I have to wonder if there was something with that.
Well, reset the stack now. What's going to happen for Mr. King, who's had security and has pretty much controlled the race? He's got the challenge on the outside. On the inside, they were, it looked like last night at the action track. That's what you want to see. Left side didn't work. Let me go right. Right side didn't work. I'm going to go left. We're going to see some more of that on this restart. And
Mr. Kevin, there's a reason why I went reverse while you were sitting there talking about the action track. I had to go find something because my investigative reporting was like, there has to be something here. Well,
Okay.
Let's look here as Eric Arnold and Mark Schrader are 3 wide with Jose Gonzalez into turn 3. And Mons gets loose in front. Didn't even see that happen. I thought something had happened here with the 31, but apparently not. But it just, I don't know. I thought I had found something, but I didn't.
Okay, chat, who's going to win this? Let's go. Make your call.
There's more to that. I need to go back and look at that. Something happened before this.
I want to see if a YouTube hero can pick the winner of this.
I mean, you got a 1 in 23 chance of getting it right. One for Fuller.
They put Fuller out front.
They did?
Did I miss
It looks like he must have delete at the...
I'm going to go back and look at when the yellow dropped as to where he was. I did not realize he had picked up the lead.
We can actually show it while you got one to go this time by. Let's go ahead and go see here. And the caution lights come on. I'll hit the stop button as soon as I see him.
Oh, yeah, he had a nose ahead, didn't he? Out of turn 2.
Caution still not out. Caution still not out. Caution still not out. Right there it comes out. So, yeah. Interesting.
By a skosh. I mean, it was so close.
All right, so Fuller leads on the outside lane now. Kevin King second. Wesley Donaldson third. Pedro Mojica, who did what Kevin King did to the Cup Series last year, is fourth. And then Donnie Leah, your top 5, is... We are not officially in a green-white checker. We're trying to break that streak. And let's see if we
got
do.
a great jump on the outside. He's going to come to second.
Fuller probably chatting with Pedro, saying, all right, I'm going at this point to tell him, hey, to try to get the jump and get the dance advantage to happen here. But let's see. 3 laps to go.
Bottom of 29 gets.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Kevin blows the doors off of Mojica there. And here comes Donaldson for third. 2 to go.
We've not talked about shifting. I'm not sure if these guys are dropping a gear.
I've hardly heard any. Oh, and in a wall hard goes Donnie Leah. And for a 6th straight race, we go to overtime. When it rains, it pours, my friend. When it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
Inside of Patrick Colby here. He's got Mike Kelly to his back, and he just kind of slides up a little bit in that 28 and just overcorrects it. We've seen it so many times tonight. Wetzel goes right through him, so does Simley.
I think if I am Fuller, I'm actually happy about that. I almost feel like if I can get a good jump. I wonder if the 58 is damaged. The car looks like it's tracking from the front down. Does it not look like it's on yaw or something?
I'll have to look at it again here. Could be something.
Go to a chase view of it and look at it. It just looks awkward to me.
He does have some rear end damage.
Yeah.
I can
Like
see.
the
I
left
see what you're
side
saying. It looks like the left side
down
is out a
there.
little bit more. You are right.
Yeah. That could explain why he...
But you know what? Wesley's car looks the same.
Well, heck, everybody mistakes. Let's just call it what it is.
He just got some nose damage too. The 58 does, so that's probably affecting the car. You can see the hood here is lifted a little bit.
Yeah, when you look at the difference between the 91 and the 58 compared to say the 28 to the 28, looks a lot better. That could be wrong. Maybe I'm psychologically trying to build something out of this, but
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
so Fuller picks up the lead with only a handful of laps to go. Can he seal the deal? 3 laps to go. We go into green, white, checker number 1. 2 options in this league as the headlights for the pace car shine on the outside fence on the exit of turn 2, and you have to be wondering, what is Kevin King thinking? I can only imagine, Chris, that he's on kill. He's on point. He just is thinking if he hits his marks and gets through the corner, gets the drive off, he's going to drive right by him.
We'll have to see. I mean, anything can happen here, obviously. I think you're going to see Fuller probably is going to take the inside here because of Mojica, and they'll probably work together. I mean, because when I look over here in Discord right now, you've got in the same channel, you have Coleman, Comstock. There's Pedro. You know what? Fuller's actually in another channel, so I can't even say that Fuller's communicating with Pedro here. So I actually stand corrected on that. But I will say this. You got 4 guys in 4 different channels. 5 and 5 different channels up there in front. So it's literally every man for themselves up front. Appreciate the viewers who have hung out here tonight. Had a good time talking with everybody about things. And we invite you to come back again next Monday night from the Nashville Super Speedway for the 811 Cup Series. Of course, Talladega next Sunday night. Whispers are a thing. Nobody's in TeamSpeak. There are whispers in Discord, right?
I don't think so.
That's what I thought. Had me thinking for a second.
I missed something.
What?
Can you say it again?
Is that our pit reporter? Are we going to bring Siri in to broadcast?
That's our friend.
Oh, we've had it all tonight. So let's see. We've had Kevin muted, me mute Kevin, me mute myself.
I love it.
Muted the audio of the race cars. Didn't even realize that until about lap 100. We've had it all happen tonight here. I'm pretty sure when we're all done, we're just going to want to crumble that paper up and throw it out the window. As we get ready to go to green, we get 2 overtimes at this. As Fuller is the leader in that 51 car outside lane. Remember we talked last night about Fuller outrunning the 51 car, and now he's in the 51 car.
Now they come out of turn 2 here as Fuller's got a huge run on the outside. King hammered down from the bottom. Fuller's going to pull him by a car length out of turn 2. Top 5 settle nose to tail as they head to turn 3. King carves down to the bottom, right to the yellow line. He's going to drive off of turn 4 to the back bumper of your leader.
White flag is out. We made it. I was hesitant. I was going to wait and make sure we had the white flag.
I did too. Next flag is hit.
Oh my gosh.
And he get the run here in turn 3. He's going to dive down the bottom. Fuller's going to cover the bottom.
Perfect block by Justin Fuller. It gets loose. Here comes Kevin. He got him. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
5 in a row for King.
Donaldson's going to pick up second. I'm not sure if Mojica got Fuller at the line, but oh my gosh, Kevin's got to be super excited at getting that. Just did not lose his composure. And as the fireworks rain, the RevGrips.com Camaro goes back to victory lane. What is this, 5 in a row?
5 in a row.
Unbelievable season for this number 29 tonight.
Wow.
I almost feel like if Fuller had just driven it down and he eased out, parked himself in the center of the corner, and then drove it off, he could have.
I wonder if Fuller's probably saying I should just ran my line.
Well, we're gonna get a chance to ask him what he's gonna think of this. And how about Wesley Donaldson? You talked about top 2 coming together and Wesley sneaking a win. Well, he got to second.
Yeah. Mojica 4th. Kelly ends up 5th.
Colby, DeBrown, Van Schaik, Gonzalez, and Alan Wild for a top 10 tonight.
Wow.
Count Tony came back to 14.
Good for him, too. I mean, a lot of comebacks in this race this evening. As let's go back and watch this and break it down here. Now, so you saw Fuller gets loose. And I can't help but wonder, you know, obviously the car starts sliding sideways. Right here, I mean, he's loose on entry. He's loose. I mean, he's loose all the way through the corner.
It almost seemed like it was a last-minute decision to turn down. right at the end of the straightaway, he probably looked in the rearview mirror, saw Kevin jerk it left, and decided to go down and do the block.
Wow. All right, let's take a look at the final results. As King wins it over Wesley Donaldson, Fuller third, Mojica fourth, and Mike Kelly fifth, Colby sixth, Kevin Brown seventh, Charles Van Schaik finishes eighth, Jose Gonzalez ninth, Alan Wild 10th, Richard Beasley 11th, Bobby Wetzel 12th, Simley finishes 13th, Callan Tony 14th, Justin Mons ends up with a 15th place finish, 16th to Macklin, 17th to Coleman, Grijalva 18th, Eric Arnold 19th, Doug Sigmund 20th, Glenn Campbell 21st, Brian Wortman 22nd, Donnie Leah, Nelson Rivera, Seth Foudy. All of these cars had issues here tonight. Comstock, Schrader, Yoakum, Dalton, Benfield, O'Rourke, Montesi, Friery, Parker, Stone. All of them. Keith, let's see, Jorgensen, Stone, and Haney, 38 cars that brought up one interesting race here tonight. When it's
a great top 20 there for the 04 car. We didn't say his name all night. Doug just kind of kept himself clean.
Yeah. Finishing in the 20th position. So, yeah, Doug
Yeah,
kept it
don't
clean.
know that he was involved in any incidents tonight. Just kept his nose clean and got a good reward for it for the top 20.
All right, so going to talk to some finishers here. Justin Fuller's here, obviously. Finishing in the third position, so unfortunate deal there in the last lap, but obviously we saw the replay there, riding on board. Just unfortunately that car just tried to spin out on you pretty much that whole entire corner. You get to spend saving it instead of winning a race.
Yeah, shit happens. I mean, I wasn't the fastest car anyway, so it's whatever. Well, I'm just glad to have a good race and not get wrecked by any idiots tonight. So yeah, it sucks, but I'm not too turned up about it because, again, like Kevin was the fastest car like he is every freaking week. So it just sucks that I had it and gave it away to him of all people. I mean, he deserved it because, again, Kevin's the best. So, but we move on.
Talk about the run, obviously, there at the end of the race. When you come to pit road, get those tires. And, I mean, you were making some bold moves out there and doing what you had to do to get that track position. That kind of had to be fun to do.
Yeah, I mean, I know I wasn't going to win the race behind him, so I had to try something.
Right.
And luckily, we ended up getting a really long green flag run there. And I started reeling him in, and then the caution came out. I honestly expected him to pit, but he didn't. So I think he probably thought maybe his tires would be good enough. They were. I mean, he was more than capable of running on old tires to stay up front. So yeah, it's embarrassing more than anything to do that because, I mean, I didn't get loose on corner entry at all tonight, and from the last lap, I didn't do anything different. Just for it to step out, I just wasn't expecting it. So, just glad to get a good points day and keep trucking forward.
Did you have it down the back straightaway of knowing you were going to the inside there in turn 3 and 4? Or was that a last minute decision?
No, I knew I was going to go down there because, I mean, if I open up the bottom, it gives him the chance to slide job park on my nose or just door me into the wall. Not that I would think he would door me into the wall, but it's just one of those things at this track when you're leading come to the backstretch, you just kind of take that option away,
Gotcha.
and they're either going to have to run into the back of you or go around the outside of you, one of the two. So I 100% went to the bottom knowing that's where I was going to go.
Okay, no, obviously it didn't work out for you, which is unfortunate, but third place finish and obviously a good points night for you. So send some shout outs.
Yeah, thanks to Sim500, all the elements, what to do. Thanks to you guys put on the broadcast. Thanks to NC811 for sponsoring the series. All right, they sponsor the series.
Yes.
There's so many sponsors. I don't know.
You got it.
Yeah, I think they do. Thanks to everybody that watched. Thanks to Trey Edson for always keeping looking good on the racetrack. Thanks to everybody that raced, even though that was probably the worst race I've ever been a part of in my life. Just looking forward to moving on to the next one, and it's been that type of season. I've had a really rough season, and thought we were going to steal one tonight, but I guess I'm not a thief. So good win to Kevin. He class of the field again.
Absolutely, man. Good job, good effort, bud.
Yep, see ya.
You too. Justin Fuller, third place finish, and obviously you can hear the disappointment, and I don't know what more to say. Unfortunately, you feel bad for him. as he did everything he could to. He did everything you're supposed to do when you know you're not the fastest car. You do something different to try to win the race, and he did everything right, except for in turn 3 and 4. Unfortunately, when it almost unraveled, or it did unravel on him. Unfortunately, when it was over with. So Wesley Donaldson has another great run tonight as his Helter Skelter season continues. And Kevin, I believe you've caught up with the Illinois driver.
Yeah, if I'm down here with Wesley, who is kind of looking over his car, it's a third place restart, fourth on the restart, jumped to third right after it and watched the two of them battle going down the back straightaway. How about it, Wesley? I think it was an up and down difficult night for you, but to come away with a top 5, you got to be happy with that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was I wasn't feeling the greatest in practice as far as I just couldn't get a good grip on it. I didn't really feel comfortable. I thought I ran a decent qualifying lap, and then the time hit and I was like, "Oh, that wasn't good at all." So, started a lot further back than what I wanted to, worked my way up. Um, got caught up in a wreck of my own doing when I turned to teammate, so that wasn't fun. Went a lap down, got everything fixed, came back through the field, and somehow ended up at least in a decent spot at the end there. And I was hoping Fuller and Kevin would, you know, bounce off each other or do something crazy there at the end. It wouldn't have shocked me too terribly much. What I was not expecting was Fuller to just blow the last corner. But I was going to be happy with third, but I'll take second.
Talk about what you struggled with tonight, as we know this track was challenging, especially on throttle coming up out of the corner, but the trouble spots, not only out of turn 2, which is traditional, seem to be all over the place. What were you struggling with?
I mean, there's a couple things. Entry was tough. If you didn't time it right and you drove it in too deep, you were going to be sliding into the corner or spin out. Down in 1 and 2, there's a bump down there in the bottom lane that if you're a little bit too much in the gas when you hit that, you're definitely going to lose it. And I think that's, especially I know at the beginning of the race, that was where most of the wrecks happened there. 3 and 4 wasn't quite as bad, but it does get a little loose off exit there. But I mean, for me, it was just trying to get fully back into the gas. Like I never quite felt comfortable in practice. It wasn't until a little bit into the race when I was just kind of trying to settle in and take it easy that I started to kind of figure it out a little bit more. And then that last pit stop, I took 2 tires. And that, I mean, I think my left sides weren't incredibly worn at that point and left some fuel out and everything. And it felt pretty good. It felt more stable, especially on entry and kind of through the middle. I didn't feel like I was going to maybe lose it if I drove it in a little too deep. So it was nice to have, that to be able to do it late in the race there.
That's kind of unusual to hear that statement. And talk about tire wear. Was it extensive? It didn't seem like it was that bad. We saw a lot of drivers skip going to pit road to keep the track position, and yet the car seemed to still have quite a bit of speed. Tyler Dalton was saying at one point that even on the worn tires, he ran some of the fastest laps of the evening before he found his troubles.
Yeah, he was on, up until he got caught up in a wreck there, I think he was on the same left side set that he started the race on. So tire wear wasn't bad. If you had fresher tires, it was a little bit easier to complete a pass, but the trouble tonight was the top was just so dominant. You could go on the bottom in 1 and 2 and it not be quite as bad. You can get a little bit of a run on somebody, but 3 and 4, you would just get killed off the exit of the corner. If you had fresher tires, you could kind of roll the bottom, and some of the really, really fast guys could, but it was just, kind of like whenever these caution-filled races, you want to kind of be the first one to take that last set. So that's why when I took 2, I knew Tyler had tried it already, and I knew it was going to work pretty well, and just getting up another 4 or 5 spots there, I knew was going to be huge because I didn't feel like I was going to be in a spot that I was slow enough to let that many cars back by.
Yeah, everybody had to see Kevin King running down on the bottom. How come nobody else was down there doing what he was doing?
I
know that's a loaded question.
Yeah, I wish I knew, honestly. I think we'd be a little bit faster if I knew kind of what he was doing there. He's really quick, and you got to be whenever you've been at that top level of sim racing like he has. So, I wish I knew what he was doing.
Well, there you go, Wesley. Second place finish. We keep talking about how you climbed out of the cellar from the point championships. You keep getting nights like this, and you'll be in the top 5. top 2 any moment now if you keep doing this every week.
Yeah, we keep doing this. It seems like it's either I either finish second behind Kevin, or I'm dead. There's kind of no in between.
Well, get rid of that other stuff, clean it up, and we'll be talking to you every week. How about it? Give some shout outs.
Yeah, just want to say thanks to everybody here at Sim500, all the admins who helped put everything on. Thanks to 811 for sponsoring the series. Make sure you call before you dig. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast every week. I'm looking forward to going back and watching this one. And then shout out to my Instagram page, WBD Diecast, where I make custom diecast for current day, NASCAR Cup Truck, Xfinity ARCA, and iRacing paint schemes. And then shout out to my teammates there in the Sim500 Sim500 Misfits and my crew chief / spotter, who was not here tonight. So didn't have him quite up there to kind of guide me through some of that stuff, but appreciate him either way.
There you go, Wesley Donaldson, second place finish at a tough Iowa Speedway. The guy who made it look easy all night long. It's Kevin King with win number 5 in a row. Chris has caught up with him, and we'll get to hear his side of how he thought this race went tonight.
Yeah, this race, I'm sure from his standpoint, is not going to be as easy as it might look. Obviously, the way the race transpired, which I know, Kevin, you've been vocal on some of these races when, cautions have happened the way they have. Of course, tonight, unfortunately, we had an aftermath of cautions. And you were in a spot where, it was a matter of taking tires or not taking tires, when to come to pit road or not. Fuller goes to pit road, and, he gets you for the lead by literally an inch when the caution comes out. And then the last lap happens. Obviously, sometimes you got to take them however you take them, as we've learned in racing. But what a way to get your 5th win in a row.
Yeah, I was obviously frustrated how that race is going because I knew going into it, I was like, man, this could go either way. It could be like one of those things where people drive really scared and they just very cautious and like no yellows happen because everyone's afraid. Typically, when you have really loose setups, that's when you have the least amount of yellows because people are afraid to race anybody.
Right.
But then the first yellow came out, and I was like, okay, maybe it's just first lap jitters or something. Then the second, third, fourth, fifth, and I was like, all right, this is gonna be one of those ones where I'm gonna have to think about what shouldn't I do as far as strategy, what doesn't make sense, kind of like what happened in Coke. You'd always do stuff that didn't make sense, and it was always hard for me to understand that. So I was like, okay, well, we got 60 laps to go. I got 2 sets. Like, I could probably take a set here, and if we do another, 20 laps, I can take my last set. And then when they pit, I didn't really expect a lot of those guys to pit, and then they pit again. And at that point, I felt like track position, the way we had yellows, it cools the tires off, that I felt like, if we just keep doing this, I'll be fine. But then Justin got through the field pretty quickly there, which kind of put me in a bad situation. But yeah, I think I probably should have pit, but I felt like, track position at that point, the way the race was going, just was more important. I was pretty confident in my pace to try to make it work, and banking on yellows kind of cooled the tires down. But definitely got lucky. I'll take it. I've had some races this year that I feel like I should have won anyways, and I didn't. So I definitely will take the ones where I I get lucky and steal one at the end.
Well, obviously you got 38 drivers, 37, not counting you, and then 2 broadcasters and maybe some viewers that are still scratching their head on you or how you were able to run the bottom.
Oh, the bottom. Yeah, I notice a lot of guys would run the middle and obviously run the top because it gets a big run off the corner. Tyler was doing it really early, and I really just had to defend it and one to kind of fix it as far as like track position. But the way I drive most short tracks, and especially this track, I don't try to hustle the car through, and I make a lot of the time up, I feel, on entry to where I'm not feeling like I have to gas a lot on exit. And so I felt like the bottom was going to be the best on tires. You're off throttle as a lot longer. The top makes you feel like you're faster, but eventually the way this track is and the way the setup was, it kind of roasts the right rear. And I felt like I did one run behind Fuller in practice, and I was getting really loose on entry, and that was my biggest focus. If I could not have to worry about that, which meant I didn't charge the entry up high, running the bottom made the most sense for me to not have an arc. And I felt like obviously that helped me because he got loose on entry and worked in my favor. I just really it's just about patience. I was really patient on the bottom. I wasn't trying to hustle it through the corner, trying to make up time. I made up a lot of time, like entry to center. I just let the car do its thing, and it was really easy. Didn't really get full throttled until super late exit. I think eventually it just helped my tires to where I didn't need to run the top.
Well, hey, it worked out, man. Congratulations on a fifth straight win, and obviously on your way to winning that regular season points championship and continuing to bump those points up. So great job, and send some shout outs.
Yeah, you guys for putting up with that race. I know I was definitely frustrated with the mic. I felt like we've had a good season the entire year with relatively clean races, but for whatever reason tonight we just couldn't get it done. So that's unfortunate for us. So appreciate you guys kind of sticking around and doing your best in broadcasting. I'll still go watch it, of course, because I definitely enjoy what you guys do. 811, appreciate those guys for sponsoring, all the admins for dealing with all the mess sometimes, but at the end of the day, like I do appreciate the drivers, as frustrated as I might get in that race. I still get it. Like everyone makes mistakes. It's not, we all want it to go green to the end for the most part. So a lot of the frustration is just like, man, we're wasting a lot of time just not really racing. We want to race. So it's not so much about people making mistakes. It's just wanting to race, if anything else. So I still appreciate the guys in the leagues. I mean, they're not doing it on purpose. Just stuff happens during racing. So and definitely shout out for Beasley. I know he spun tonight, which is normal for him. Good job to him. I don't know where he finished, but I noticed he did get wrecked again. So kudos to him for keeping his streak alive in that regard.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations, and you extend that points lead too.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Kevin King, the winner here tonight at the Iowa Speedway. I about called it Richmond. Richmond's cousin. The Iowa Speedway. You've been waiting to do that again, haven't you? Pretty sure the points are probably.
What are you talking? You have to watch the movie. The Music Man with Robert Preston is very funny.
What year was that movie?
19 in Stone Age.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Yeah. That's Kevin England, everybody, by the way. So, final thoughts there, man. I know it was going to be a challenge. The NIS race was a very similar complex. This place is hard to drive. When you're up on the wheel trying to get the thing, I'm just rapt at attention listening to what Kevin says about how he drives this racetrack. It makes me want to fire up the sim and go try it. Even though I ran how many laps this week at this racetrack, I have no idea what he's talking about. I just don't. I have to say there's a couple times, one of them in particular, when he talked about how to run a road course, that I went and followed his instructions, and I gained a little speed. And I have to say there's certain times, and I don't think he has to worry about being careful because repetition and laps and muscle memory make you a good driver, not somebody telling you how to drive the racetrack. But I am just astonished that he unlocked a secret that nobody else seemed to understand, how to drive the bottom, and it was the difference all night long. I think one thing you'll see when you go back and watch this broadcast, there's a couple of times where I actually get on board King's car, and the one thing I caught was obviously how early he was going into the corner with the getting out of the throttle and being patient, treating it like there was an egg underneath it. And I think by him doing that and saving the tires, and I think he's spot on with the right front too. Or the right rear, how you run to that top side. Remember, you're under throttle real quickly, and when you do that, weight goes to the rear of the car, goes to the right rear, and of course it takes the beating when it's over with. So I think he's spot on with what he said, and I obviously asked that question to see what he would share with everybody. And now everybody's got some notes to take for that race in November, and I wasn't trying to do that to let Kevin get, everybody the information. But, I think it's good information to learn, especially if you have another league you race in and you got to go to Iowa in an next-gen car. Now you can try that trick and see what works, and that's part of the taking notes. But Kevin King, 5 wins in a row, has not lost a race since May 6th at the Kansas Speedway. So he is definitely rolling as we go to Nashville next week and the Super Speedway there. Give me a second here, and I will get you your point standings here. And of course, King does lead by 82 now over Mike Kelly, who jumps back to the second position. Tyler Dalton falls to third. As I'm just going to make sure I get enough people here. Let's look at the top 30. You're going to hear noise because I'm saving the file right now. There we go.
That's certainly the second story of the evening, is the late trouble for Tyler Dalton out there having a strong run, and He also did what was unimaginable, running as long as he did on worn tires and keeping pace with these guys. That was a super impressive thing, and quite frankly, it goes to show the talent of these guys running in the top 10 for this series. They find a way. Just an amazing race and display of technical ability by two different drivers doing completely different things.
So when it's all said and done, King leads it as we show you the point standings now. Of course, the bubble is Eric Arnold, who now is tied with Scott Simley for 16th. Kevin Brown 2 points back. Mons 3 points back. Macklin's right there. And then I see Cody Giles, unfortunately, did not make the race tonight, so he had to use a drop week on a missing race. So that obviously brings one of his worst finishes back into play. And because of that, now sits all of 23 points back of the final spot in the playoffs. Obviously a tough situation for him to be in at that 21st spot. So still plenty of racing to go. We still got 10 races after tonight before the playoffs get here. And, well, we got to go to Nashville and hit that Gibson guitar and see who's going to win it next week. Will it be 6 in a row for Kevin, or will somebody else pull out a victory next week in Music City? But, Mr. England, appreciate your time. I think it is time for us to go to sleep.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Absolutely. Appreciate everybody watching. Shout out to NC811 for sponsoring the Cup Series. As always, Joey Justino allowing the Captain Esports Network for broadcasting the Sim500 NC811 Cup Series season. And shout out to all the viewers. As always, appreciate all of you. And appreciate everybody for putting this all together and making this all work out. Shout out to my wife and daughter for allowing me to broadcast the race. So we go from there. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night. Enjoy your week. Stay hydrated for those in hot areas. And I say that, and I got to say it to myself, too, because I'm the one driving a ice cream-looking truck out there delivering packages in this heat. So remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya.
Copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.